State of the Union on the company, tell you what's happening if you haven't heard, kind of give you an update, since the first year. We'll give you some numbers and things that you should be aware of, that you can use and talk about. But I'll tell you first my story. If many of you don't know. Sorry. You have to know, I tell this probably 5 times a week. But having Alethea here is tough. Huh. Good, we'll get this out and then we can get going. Anyway, Alethea and I work together at a different company, an Idaho Falls company. For everyone who's here, everyone knows who that is. For about 5 years, and it was a great experience. I mean, we literally, worked at a company that we, had our fingerprints on. We were able to really have an impact on it, and grow it from 300 million sales to just under 900 million in about 4.5 years. And if you don't know, we reported to Jeff Hill at the time, and it was a phenomenal experience. I mean, we literally, we had this great team of people that worked together and had a common goal. Worked with the what they call marketing executives, which were the coaches, and we literally realized that the teams are what makes all the difference. I mean, it's huge impactful when you work with great people. And I can tell you, when Alethea started as one of the directors, I took Alethea's spot, if you don't know. But I've known Jeff forever. And one of the unique things about working with Jeff Hill is you're literally like family. I mean, it isn't like this boss relationship where it's like you get your crap done, blah, blah, blah. You're literally empowered to do your work, and you really feel accountable to do it because of the relationship you have with Jeff. And, just to kind of tell you the rest of that story, so there are 3 regional directors, and then there's Jeff, and all 3 of us are ex-Melaleuca. That's the company we work for in Idaho. Alethea was part of that team. So Jeff essentially, I think when Beachbody started, when they first came in, Jeff was like, I need a team of people that I can trust, that I can tell what to do. There's too much going on. We really feel like we can have an impact here, and I don't want to have to train and hold hands and teach people everything they got to do. I need people that I know can just do this job, and that's literally why I think Jeff kind of put a lot of this team back together. I've talked to people from our old company who are just like this is like the dream team. I mean, it really is a phenomenal group of people on the network sales side, and it's been a great experience for me. I mean, working with Alethea in the past, and people always, it's funny because when I meet coaches sometimes they're like, well, I don't know if you know Alethea, but, she did it. I'm like, do I know Alethea? I mean, I know Alethea really, really well. So I tell you this because if you understand kind of how we got at Beachbody and understand Jeff Hill, and, many of you, or some of you, I guess, toured the office here in Orem, Utah, essentially, and I don't know how much of this story ever gets told, but essentially Jeff wouldn't move to Santa Monica. And they wanted to hire him, so they let us put the network sales office here in Utah. And honestly, I don't know that many of us would have moved to Santa Monica. We all have pretty great, other jobs. We're all doing other things. And when they recruited us in, it was like, okay, I understand, I can move to Utah. I'm living in Idaho. It's not a big deal to move down here. If it would have been moving to Utah or to California, I've been there, done that, and I don't think I wanted to do it again. No offense.
Hey.
Yeah. The rapper's going to come after me. So anyway, I tell you that because if you understand kind of where the company's coming from, I can tell you that our background at that company, at Melaleuca, is actually really, really good. I think that it gave us an education of treating this like a business, understanding that it's integrity-based, there's no smoke, we don't hype it up, we really do try to keep this business down to where you understand if you do the activities, you're going to get paid for it, right? Like there's no, honestly, Jeff Hill just posted on the wall the other day. If you don't know, the wall is where 5 stars and above have a Facebook group where they're invited, and it's really, Carl's on it, Michael's on it, Jeff's on it, all the directors are on it, and we kind of monitor the field in a way that it's supposed to be for best practices, but it's also a place for correction. And if the company sees something, we can post to there and try and bring everybody back in, and do some correction to make sure we're on the same page. So the wall, Jeff posted like a week ago, hey guys, we need to make sure that we realize we're different. And I want you to know that is something that we really do embrace, is this idea that we're not like any other network marketing company. And it's interesting, and Alethea can tell stories about this, but over the course of these 3-4 years, we've had people come from the network marketing space, some really heavy hitters that came from other network marketing companies and came to Beachbody and were like, I could do this, I'm going to blow it up. Because our comp plan, they see people making great money and they're like, I'm in, I can do this. What happens is when you convert Beachbody into a money deal, it doesn't work. It just literally doesn't work. And so we've had many of those, not many, we've had a few come in and then they're all gone. Like there might be a few that are lingering a little bit, but literally they struggle at this business because they want to make it a money deal. They want to focus on the trips. They want to focus on the income. They want to focus on, the lifestyle and, big houses and fancy cars and all that stuff. And you know what? We're not about that. We're about keeping this simple, paying off debt, but staying to the mission of the company, which, to help people, live healthy, fulfilling lives, right? And reach their own goals. And, so it's a great mission that the company has. And we absolutely believe in it. And we support it and we go with it. Alethea can attest to this. When I worked at Melaleuca, I used to weigh 315 pounds.
Can I step in?
Huh?
So Doug told me, I remember one time I was going through a really tough time in life, and he said, tough times on the inside, not the outside, right? Doug told me, he's like, Alethea, all of us have problems. Sometimes they're just more visible than others. And he was using his weight as an analogy for the internal pain that I had. And he's just like, it's just that everybody gets to see mine.
Anyway, so, great, thanks, Alethea. But I'll tell you, and it's interesting for me, because I don't, I haven't really posted my before and afters. I haven't done anything, because I'm one of those coaches that's like, I'm not done. When I get to my after, I'll post it. It's like, oh, it's a journey, you gotta post it. And I'm like, I know, but anyway, so I'm that guy that kind of fights that too. Anyway, so it's interesting. But I posted, so I did the ultimate reset when Carl did it. And in 21 days, lost 16 pounds, right? And, and I'd already been losing, so, I kind of leveled off. And so for Carl to come in and literally on the cruise ship at the top 10 dinner, Carl's like, I'm going to do the reset. Who's with me? And it's like, oh, suck. If we don't say yes. And then he describes it as, oh, it's just the P90X of eating. And you're like, oh, hell, whatever. So anyway, so we did the ultimate reset, 21 days, 16 pounds. Really hard. It was over my birthday, my wife's birthday. It was like, there's no easy time to do that. We're eating the watermelon cut into a cake with a candle in it. It is what it is. And, we do what you have to do. But we got results, and we're very happy with it, right? And so it changed me. I would never eat vegan Shakeology. Like, that was just not my thing. Now chocolate vegan is like all I drink. I don't know what chemically happened, but all of a sudden I'm a chocolate vegan Shakeology guy, and that's just, I don't know why, but that kind of stuck with me through the reset. So I want to get into me coming to Beachbody. So I got invited by Jeff, and I'll tell you this, and there's kind of a funny story. When Jeff and Alethea and Jeremy and Arnold kind of got started at Beachbody, I got talking to Jeff one day, and we really are friends. And I was talking to him saying, you know, how is it? What's going on? You know, because when he was at other companies, we'd go to lunch probably every 6 months. I would stop by. I've stopped by the office several times when Alethea was there. We would chat. But I can remember 2.5 years ago, I met with Jeff, and I said, well, I want to try your products. I want to see how this is good and what's going on. I don't know why, but he gave me the old Greenberry, and I was like, Jeff, this tastes like hell. Like, how are you going to make any money doing it? I'm like, this is tough, you know? And he was like, oh, we're working on some of it. Yeah. It's way better now, though. I mean, it's come a long way.
I'm saying the sample pack, that was like the last one.
Yeah. Well, so what happened is when Jeff called me and said, hey, come talk to me about coming to Beachbody. I said, well, at the time I was the chief operating officer for a bottling plant that made liquid nutritionals for other network marketing companies. So I didn't work for a network marketing company. I actually worked for a manufacturing facility that provided them their product. And that's a whole other story. But what was interesting, so Jeff calls and he says, you know, come talk to us at Beachbody. I'd love to have you join the team. And I said, I'd love to. You've got to give me the product. I said, because if it's anything like it was, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to do it. So he gave me vanilla. Vanilla had just launched, and I loved it. I mean, I'm a fruit guy. I can berry it with raspberries and, bananas and things, and love vanilla Shakeology. So I was real excited. He gave me T25, and you have to know that from the network marketing industry, most products they're just never that professional. I mean, they're pretty good, and they invest a lot of money in their products. But if you really look at a network marketing company's products, you can always find something. I mean, I've worked in the space, I've done bottling plants, I've worked in sales. I actually was a telecommunications consultant into the industry running a mobile marketing company. So I've done lots of different things back into the network marketing space. And I can tell you that when we got the product, quite honestly, the biggest person convinced was my wife. When she saw T25 and was opening the box and how professional everything is and how dialed in it is, I mean, there was just no question that these are great products that normal people can buy, and there's just no question the quality that the company puts into their product. And again, for those of you that don't know, I mean, this is a year ago. I mean, I think I started August 23rd last year, and so this isn't that long ago. So it's exciting to me. I'll tell you this other story because I think it's applicable, and we'll get into it. But I worked for a bottling plant that made, again, liquid nutritional products for other network marketing companies. We made one product that was a 3-ounce product. I'm not going to tell you who it is or what's in it because you can figure it out. Anyways, so we made this little product that literally in China sells for between $49 and $59 a bottle. I ran the manufacturing plant. It would cost me, now let me describe this to you. I would buy all the raw ingredients, the bottle, the labels, the caps, then it came with a box, it had shrink wrap, and it had a dropper in it that was wrapped. All of that, okay? I could manufacture it, produce it, and provide it to them for $2 a bottle. And they sell it for between $49 and $59 in China and all over Europe and things like that. The crazier part about it was this: we would make $1. I mean, that's where I was like, this is crazy. So in the network marketing space, you got to be careful. What I love about Beachbody is, because we started as an infomercial company, I believe we are fully vetted. Like, people dig into us. We get talked about. People are researching our stuff. People know who we are. We can't do what we do on TV without researchers checking us out constantly. And so that's what excites me about Beachbody. Now, I started with the company, and like 3 days later, I was flown to leadership. Scotty was there. I met a lot of the top leaders, and it was impressive to me because at leadership, again, coming from the network marketing space, we had a company at Melaleuca. We would do a Melaleuca 10K, and it was a 6-mile, 10K race, and we'd have 600 leaders at an event, and 50 people would run the 10K. So I'm all expecting, network marketing, and this is what happens. And we go to leadership and they're doing workouts at like 5:30 in the morning. And, you know, obviously I'm the new guy. I got to get out there and do my workout, or I'm going to, you know, that wouldn't be good. So I go out there, and it's shocking that, like, there's like every coach except the ones that have like casts on their legs or like standing up watching the workouts, and, you know, unless you're 8.5 months pregnant. I mean, it was crazy to me to see how this isn't just a company that is about money and opportunity and do this. Like really, we believe in what we do. And it's really motivating to see the leaders out there every single morning at leadership early. You know, and that doesn't mean they're not drinking at night and having a party and doing all that stuff. Man, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, they're all out doing their workouts. And that was extremely impressive to me. A week later, we did Super Saturday. I was flown to, I went to Southern California, and I went to a Super Saturday in Downey, California, East LA, the Ornelas. And I'm there, and, you know, they don't know who I am. I mean, I'm 8 days with the company. You know, I've met them at leadership, telling them I'm going to come out. Nobody else in the room even has a clue who I am. So I start talking to this guy next to me. His name's Victor Rodriguez. Well, Victor Rodriguez, if you see him, is like this totally muscly, you know, guy. And I'm like, Victor, you know, obviously it's good to meet you. He doesn't know who I am. I didn't tell him. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm with Beachbody. I love it. And I'm like, cool. I said, how long have you been with the company? 2.5 years. And I'm like, awesome. I said, so what rank are you? And he's like, I'm an Emerald. And I'm like, wait, 2.5 years to Emerald? Like, that coming from the network marketing space, that doesn't compute. I'm like, you can do better. I mean, it's like, come on. And he's like, well, that wasn't my goal. My goal is, you know, I believe in products and I do this. He goes, let me show you my pictures. And he pulls out his before and afters. His before picture is like this great big guy with this goatee and, I mean, just huge. So he's lost 165 pounds. And you look at these before and afters and you're just like, oh, it's just not even the same guy. But it was just impressive, obviously, from new to the company. You see that. And when you understand the network marketing industry, what's powerful about that is if he was at any other company, he would be speaking on stage at every meeting, right? I mean, I understand. He would be the spokesman. He would be Jared, right? We would have him. He would be our subway guy. And I was like, man, why aren't you? I mean, we should have you tell your story. Again, 8 days with the company. I don't know any better. And I'm like, we should have you up there. So I get up on stage and I'm like, okay, there's 100 people in the room and we go through recognition, and one of them is, you know, how many of you have lost more than 100 pounds? 6 people stand up. And that's where, you know, it was just shocking to me. Because I'm like, wait a minute, like, what are we missing that we're not telling that to everybody? You know, this company's having that kind of an impact. You know, 6% of that room had lost more than 100 pounds. And then we go, I literally got done with that, took off, went to Santa Monica. It's actually over by LAX. There was another Super Saturday that I could make it to at the end. So I went in, introduced myself, that's who I am, stood up, you know, did my, you know, speech, whatever. And I said, I just got to know, you know, if you've lost more than 100 pounds, stand up. And crazy enough, like another 7 people stood up. And again, about 110 people in the room. To me, that was like, wait, you know, like, why aren't we, you know, this should be screamed, right? But I guess it is being screamed, you know, it's probably the takeaway, and that's why you guys are all here. I mean, you know, we've really built this into this word-of-mouth business. We're on infomercials all over. But it's very powerful when you know, in my position, to go out to these meetings and see the transformations and the impact we're having on people. And it's been, I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, those aren't anomalies. It's standard business, you know. We go to Summit, you know, we're sitting up there with all the elite coaches, and, you know, it's always powerful to me when you talk to almost anybody in this business. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm down 60 pounds, or I'm down 80 pounds, and I'm down 35 pounds. Well, some of them are like, I gained 30 pounds, I'm muscly, and I used to have an eating disorder, and I've changed this. So it's not all about weight loss. I mean, there's a lot that go the other direction, or they just get fit. But it's powerful when you see how far everyone's coming. And I think sometimes, myself included, you look at the elite coaches and I go, oh, I can't do what they're doing. They're all these beautiful people. It's like, look at them, you know, it's like, holy cow. But then you dive into it, and they all started somewhere. I mean, every one of them has a story. Every one of them came from somewhere. And all that they've done that's different than you guys is they tell their story, they get it out there, and they, quite honestly, just keep doing it, right? And so we'll get into a little bit about that. What else do I want to talk about? So anyway, long story short, I've been with the company now for 1 year, okay? It's been phenomenal. I can tell you that the company is absolutely impressive. You know, you go out to Santa Monica, you've got just phenomenal resumes. You know, they're hiring new people. Mark Washington is absolutely outstanding as a new president. You know, he's got an incredible resume. They just hired a new chief financial officer, and I think he's from FedEx or somewhere. Anyway, I don't remember. I remember reading it, but now I don't remember where he's from. But it's incredible, you know, the money that this company is reinvesting into itself to build the stability. And I'll tell you, I mean, I think one of the most impressive is Carl, right? When you look at Carl and you consider these workouts that we continue to launch and that we continue to roll out, I mean, he is just spot on time after time. And 21 Day Fix, unbelievable. Everyone loves it. You know, Amy Silverman posted on the wall when the 21 Day Fix came out, I can't sell another program because there's no objections to this one. Like, everybody buys the 21 Day Fix because why wouldn't you buy the 21 Day Fix? And she's in like number 5 right now and just killing it this year. But the 21 Day Fix was spot on. You know, Pio, with everything that goes on with yoga and, you know, everything that's happening in that side of the world, Pio's a huge hit right now, right? P90, that's going to roll out in September. Another perfectly timed, you know, heading into the end of the year, you know, very powerful, you know, let's get into rolling out P90, get everybody started with a program. And then again, think of what P90 will do at the first of the year, right? When we get into January, now you guys all know everything there is to know about P90, how it works, how it's an introduction program that gets you into P90X. You know, when you think of January and everybody setting their New Year's resolutions and, you know, what a great program that's going to be and how well timed that's going to be. But I can tell you that Carl, to me, is so impressive because he's literally like 3 years ahead of us. Like that guy, you sit down and talk to him, he's got stuff lined up, you know, because he knows that this is a business that's continuously evolving. And he is, I mean, just brilliant in managing that side of the business and really surrounds himself with great people that are helping him develop these programs as well. So anyway, let me jump into a little bit about what I've learned, where the company's come from. You could probably talk to it more than me before me, but let me give you a couple of numbers, okay, that I think is interesting because things are just exploding. When I started last year, again, September, I pulled a report and I was pulling all the leaders in the western half of the United States. And I'm like, okay, who is it that I get to work with? And Alethea had given me some reports and, you know, she and I had gone through names and we're filling things out. And I'm trying to track, you know, essentially who are the 5 stars and above in the West. And so, you know, then we kind of mapped it and put it out there so I know where everybody's at. Guys, in the state of Utah, 1 year ago, right now, our highest ranking leader was a 2-star in the entire state of Utah. Right? So I've heard people say, oh yeah, but I wish I would have started back then. Guys, this is so wide open. I heard Montana. Somebody was Montana, right? Montana, I don't even have a 5-star. I mean, there's one lady that comes to the cruise that's always there. I don't remember her name, but I think she's a 2-star. I gotta look, but not even sure I had a 2-star in Montana. Wyoming, nothing. I got nothing. New Mexico, I think we have a couple of diamonds down there. But the reason I tell you this is, you know, don't get caught up in the fact that Beachbody's already exploded and I missed the opportunity or anything like that, because this is so just getting started. I mean, literally, when Jeff called and I was talking to Alethea about joining Beachbody, you know, I had a pretty good opportunity where I was, and I was like, you know, why would I join this company? Like, what is it that makes Beachbody the opportunity that I ought to go into? Well, Jeff kind of described it this way. He says, Doug, we're a $300 million startup company. I mean, we're just figuring this thing out, right? And so if you want to come in and have your fingerprints on it, you can, because we are impacting this every day. I mean, we're hitting numbers and having things happen that are so outstanding. But what you guys got to understand, we're still, you know, Carl talks about we fail. Guys, we're very good at what we do, but we screw up a lot of stuff. I mean, everybody does. But this company, when we get this all dialed in and we keep fixing and keep getting better and keep getting better, this is going to just continue to progress. And I can tell you, I mean, I mean, we've come a long way since even I started, and it's just awesome to be to kind of see this company and where we're going. But, and then Idaho, I mean, we can't talk, Idaho's, sorry, you're saturated. It's interesting because, Idaho Falls, I was living in Idaho Falls, Alethea's from Idaho Falls. I'm actually from Blackfoot, which is 30 miles south of Idaho Falls. What's interesting is, when I got that list, I'm like, Stoddy Hobbs, Idaho Falls. Like, who the heck's in Idaho Falls? If you don't know, it's a town of 60,000 people. And there's like 3 major network marketing companies based in that town. And none of them are Beachbody, right? I mean, so like half the town's employed by one, and the other half of the town is like partially employed by the other. Yeah, or they're Beachbody coaches now, yeah. I mean, there's I won't say a name, but Brigida, I'm meeting with Brigida one day, and we're going through Brigida's diamonds. And a last name pops up, and I'm like, is this who I think it is? And she's like, I think it is. And I'm like, no way. Her dad's the vice president of Melaleuca. And those of you from Idaho Falls understand, that's like scary. But she had to go to her dad like 3 times to get permission, and he eventually gave it. And now I think she's a 2-3-star qualifying. I mean, she's killing it right now, and it's awesome. I mean, good for her. But it's, it just tells you that, Beachbody, we've got so much going on. So let me give you some of this. In 2012, Beachbody ranked number 51 in all network marketing companies worldwide. Okay, we were the 51st biggest network marketing company. Okay, now let me explain that number a little bit. When we report our numbers to the Direct Selling Association, we do not include the infomercial side of the business. Okay, so we are one company. So really our revenues are them plus us combined, that's our company revenue. But there's 400 million on that side or so, but we don't count that. When we report to the Direct Selling Association, we give them just Team Beachbody. And in 2012 we were number 51. In 2013 we were number 39. Okay, so obviously you can see that we're progressing, very positively, things are exciting. I talked to Jeff today and I said, Jeff, what are we on track to do? Okay, in 2012, our revenues were like 212 million. At the end of 2013, our revenues were 328 million. Okay? This year, we're going to be north of 500 million. That's a huge deal, guys. I mean, that's incredible growth, incredible excitement. And when you start to think about adding the network in and or the infomercial side in and start to threaten $1 billion, that's really cool, right? I mean, think of what that credibility and what that does. So Jeff says, based on that, you can pull the report. When we exceed 500 million, we will be in the top 25 biggest network marketing companies in the world. Okay, and again, that's just half of our company. Like we don't even count the other. This will be the first year, and Alethea can talk to this a little bit too. When Alethea and Jeff and Jeremy started with Beachbody, I mean, literally, Beachbody was kind of a hobby. And not a hobby, I mean, what's the word? I mean, how would you describe what the environment was?
We're the stepchild, for sure.
The stepchild, right? Like.
Never.
Yeah, so if Alethea wanted to get something done at corporate, she would go to Santa Monica and people were like, what are you? Like, who are you? Like literally, the support just wasn't nearly what it is today. Because, when you're doing half the revenue or less than half the revenue, these guys are dialed in on the infomercial business. They know it impacts their paycheck, so they're really dialed in on what they're doing. And we're just kind of this other thing. Well, this year will be the first year that the network will pass the infomercial in revenue. Which is really cool. Because now Carl's like, guys, anything they need, take care of it. Like, take care of, this is the focus of the company is over here. And obviously, I'll tell you this too about network marketing and the network marketing industry. Most network marketing companies, and I don't know the sheer numbers or the real statistics on this, but most network marketing companies, when they start to get growth, You know, and if you don't know, they're all based literally in this valley. Not all of them, but like 80% of network marketing companies in the world are in either Salt Lake County or Utah County. Like this valley, the Wasatch Front. You know, Noni, Noni, Zango, New Skin. I mean, most of the big ones are based, you know, right out here. What happens is they start their company, they get a little traction, they immediately go international. I mean, because there are countries in the world that are literally built better than the U.S. to market and network with network marketing companies. You know, companies like, I can tell you the story of New Ways, you know, they kind of exist, but, you know, they literally started in the U.S., got a little bit of traction, went to Japan, and went 700 million in sales in like 2 years in Japan. Literally never paid attention again to the U.S. market because they were doing so much revenue over there. I think to the credit of Beachbody, we're very focused. We're killing the United States in a way that, you know, if we stack ranked up against any network marketing company based off U.S. growth and U.S. revenue, I guarantee you we would be, you know, very close to the top, if not the top. And I'm including Mary Kay, Avon, Amway, I mean, all those guys, you know, we absolutely, in the United States, we are building a monster. And understand that, you know, Carl and them are very methodical. You know, they're not going to rush into foreign countries. We're going to do it right. You know, Canada's launching. They're in Vancouver tomorrow. You know, that's where Jeff Hill and Arnold are. You know, they were flying tonight. They'll be there tomorrow for the launch of Vancouver. So Canada's just kicking off. You know, they've been really slow to make sure we do that right, and that's the way this company does it. And so, you know, I can tell you that as we do get our, you know, stabilized and get, you know, stabilized, as we continue to grow the U.S., you know, those foreign countries are going to be just wide open at some point. And so, you know, as you build your teams, you know, keep in mind that there's going to be more opportunity in that as well. So, okay, at the end of 2013, we had 97,000 coaches. At the end of July, we had 213,000 coaches. Okay, so over 100% jump in 6 months. So it took, what, 6.5 years, 6 years to get to 97,000, and it took 6 months to double it. Okay?
What changed that?
Sounds like compounding.
You got. It's just like your business. You know, when you start as a new coach, and you have to fight like crazy to get those first 10 to get to Diamond. If you continue to do the activities that got you to Diamond, what'll happen is now you have this army of 10 that'll follow your lead, and they'll all do it. And so, literally, I mean, it's as your army grows, your reach grows. And it continues to just grow. I would also tell you that, you know, 21-Day Fix, I mean, to go back to Carl, you know, these programs were just spot on. I think they're easier to share. More people are willing to try them. You know, so I think we've really kind of hit a vein with some really phenomenal products. Do you agree?
Yes. It's been a lot easier for me this year. Like, just at this point in this year, I've probably signed more coaches than I did like the last 2 years combined.
Yeah,
2
Jim.
months ago, we reached our last year's number 2 months ago. And I think we averaged 200 new coaches a week in our organization. So it's just that compound. And just think about when everyone goes here, everyone's going to other parts of the country. And you know what I mean? The little flame that gets lit here is going to... That's just what it is. So Beachbody is just the top level of that. And it's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the beginning, it was just the founding coaches. That's like the very first little spark. Sorry.
We got the torch now, though. When we're there, we know that the torch now.
Well, and what's interesting is this is an interesting business because it'll grow as fast as the leaders take it. Okay? And you know, Scotty and I, we're going to talk, you know, a little bit later, we're going to kind of open this up. But one of the things you guys have to understand, and Scotty's actually going to talk about it in leadership, he just got informed he's going to talk about it in leadership, is this idea of leading by example. And the idea that, well, let me throw this out there, okay? When you're a new coach, okay, how much of your time do you spend recruiting? All of it, 100%, right? So then you become a diamond. You've now got, let's say you got 2 builders on your team plus everybody else, okay? And now you've got this team you've got to focus on. What percentage of your time is spent recruiting? 80? Okay, so 20% is like managing the team kind of thing, right? Okay, so now you're a 2-star. You've got 5 builders that are really active, you've got 3 that say they are, and then you've got a whole bunch of others that are coaches or discount coaches or whatever. What percentage of your time is spent recruiting versus managing your team? What do you think?
Hopefully more than half.
Okay? No, it's probably, 70, 60%, right? Okay, now you're a 15-star coach. 50, you're Brigida, and actually this comes from Brigida. I literally, wherever my binder is, I carry 2 PowerPoint presentations with me everywhere I go. The first one is the Shakeology one from Summit, because if you don't know Shakeology, you've got to understand Shakeology. That Shakeology workshop video ought to be viewed every day. You ought to know that stuff frontwards and backwards. Because if you can't share Shakeology and overcome the objections on Shakeology, you're missing the boat, guys. You have to do the research. You have to be able to talk about it. And Scotty's on it. I mean, I worked with Scotty on building that PowerPoint with Shay Stanford and Monica Ward. And it's a phenomenal presentation because we got 3 incredibly unique perspectives on that. But what was cool about it is, so you've got, Shay Stanford, who is like, she's an ex-pharmaceutical sales rep. And so we literally, I swear Scotty and Monica and I are like, oh great, how do we compete with her on stage? Because she's like dialed in, she can go through the whole thing, and she knows exactly what it does for you, why it does it, and she can get into the ingredients and what that ingredient does and why it does it. And you're just like, holy cow. Like, why do I want to be on stage with her? Yeah. Scotty's like, wow. And so we literally have one question in that workshop where we said to her, Shay, tell us the benefits of Shakeology and, and then, how you share it. It's like 20 minutes of the presentation. But we wanted it. But let me be clear though. We knew we were going to do that. And then I turned to Scotty because I'm doing the question. I say, Scotty, how do you share it? You know what Scotty says? Stories. I talk about what it does for people. I share what my team's doing with it. I tell them. So yeah, I don't really get into any of that. But the point is, you probably need to know because there's going to be the day when you're talking to that one guy who you think is going to be really good, and he's going to go, well, I'm a pharmacist, and no, wait a minute. Let me ask you. You're going to be going, oh crap, And it's okay to say I don't know, and you know where to go get the information. But if you're going to build this business, you've got to invest time in your business. And you really do need to understand our core product. You have to, okay? That isn't a question, you just have to know that inside and out. Because you need to be able to understand why that product is as good as it is. Why is it the daily dose of dense nutrition? Like understand it, right? And I'm not telling you have to be a pharmaceutical sales rep to figure that out. Scotty figured it out, right? Well, exactly. But I think the point is you have to understand that product to some level to where you can continue to share it, right? Well, let me go back to Brigida. So what percentage of your time do you think at a 15-star diamond is spent? So let me break it into 2 pieces. The first one is spent around the activities around you hitting Success Club 10, meaning you're doing challenge groups, you're inviting, you're doing your posts on Facebook. All those activities that are around you personally hitting Success Club 10 versus the other activities of you working with your team, helping them get to Diamond or advance to Star Diamond, helping them solve their issues, running your different groups that are PS groups and groups for your coaches, all that stuff. What percentage of your time do you think is spent recruiting in Success Club 10 versus working with your team at a 15-star? 40? 70? 70% where? Recruiting? Okay. I would tell you, Brigida, who, in my perspective, is absolutely one of the best in the company, is 50-50. And I think that's powerful. Okay, what we did is we have a meeting at the company called the QBR. The QBR is the quarterly business review. It's where the directors and above in the network, we all fly to Santa Monica, we sit down, we go through everything that's going on in the network, we dial in promotions, challenge packs, we're looking at numbers, we're trying to understand why things are happening. In that meeting, every time we take 1 hour and we invite one coach to come and present to us some aspect of building the business. Okay? So we rotate Jeremy, Arnold, Doug. And so it ended up with me, and it just so happened this was the day Brigida was going 15-star. So I called Brigida and said, hey, it's your day, you're going to hit 15. Let's have you come present to the company. And what we talked about is, let's have you just present your typical day. What is it that you do on a normal day building this business, okay? If you don't know, her goal is to be top 10, just like Scotty's. She is dialed in, she's working towards top 10, and she thinks she can be top 10 working 6 hours a day. Now some of you are going, yeah, there's no way, you have to do more hours than that. I do more than 6 hours a day. Well, I will tell you that Brigida's 6 hours are very dialed in. Like, she understands her 6 hours, what she's going to do during those 6 hours. Now, let me be clear, she obviously does calls at night and does some other things, but she's literally 9 to 12, 1 to 4, those are her hours. And that's when she's focused on this business. But she literally says, my first 3 hours, and she presented this to the company, are spent on all the activities around me hitting Success Club 10. Because my team will follow me. If I do those activities, they'll do these activities. If I tell them to do these activities and I don't do these activities, they won't do these activities. I have to lead by example. You have to be adding people to the team. Your team is paying attention to you, right? If you think they're not, you're crazy, right? I mean, if you're not adding people, if things aren't changing, everybody's aware of it, okay? So understand that at 15-star, you're still 50-50. And it may be 70-40, but I'm just telling you, I don't think it should ever go 20-80 or 30-70, right? Because when it does, I'm telling you, your business will slow down. But if you'll stay true to literally a 50-50 split, and then, guys, we could have a whole nother discussion about how you spend your time. Understand, I do one-on-ones with leaders, generally elite coaches, and I just literally at 3 o'clock landed from Phoenix. I was in Phoenix, somebody drove from Phoenix. Anyway, I was there last night with the market council. We did one-on-ones all day yesterday. The day before I was in Denver, and we did one-on-ones with the leaders in Denver. And you have to know that the activities that the leaders do are, I mean, how do you present it? You have to be dialed in so that you know you're doing the right activities to get the right result. Okay? Now let me teach this principle, and some people hate this principle because the way I present it, and we could probably present it better. Okay, so here's what it is. Network marketing is a selfish business. Oh. Okay? Here's why. Because if you're going to take time away from your family, your husband, your wife, whatever it is, do activities that you get paid for. Okay? I am so cool with you doing service and helping others. But don't come to me in a one-on-one and say, I'm not growing, I'm working really hard, and da-da-da-da. Because when I drill into what you're doing, and it ends up being 5 hours of service every day, I'm cool with it. But you're not, because then you're mad you're not getting paid for it. Okay? So if you have, and you want to help everybody. I mean, we all want to help everybody. Okay? I'm not telling you to abandon people. I'm not telling you to, tell them I can't talk to you. You're not one of my PS coaches. None of that at all. But I am telling you that when you sit down to work, do the activities that you know build your business. Because we want you to make money. We want you to succeed at this business. This isn't, our goal isn't that, Scotty makes all the money. I mean, our goal is that you all pass in, right? I mean, literally, that's where we're going as a company, is we're going to have thousands and thousands of 5 stars and 10 stars. And, if you don't know, I mean, that's another one of these statistics that Jeff talks about. Our 5 stars have doubled this year. Since the first of the year, we've doubled the number of 5 stars we have in the company, which is fantastic, yeah.
At what point, and please tell me it's not starting this next Monday, at what point are we going to stop reading the diamonds every single week? Or is that going to keep going?
Okay, let me say this.
When it gets to 1,000, maybe I'll put.
The
I'll
hard
be
part
bitter if
is,
they stop this week, by the way.
because you're it. It's your week. That's why we don't change. You have to, okay guys, let me teach you a principle, and this is something that we know.
Ask that question.
Oh,
Is that the question now?
you wear it backwards. Then you can look like the rapper. Yeah, there you go. So, guys, recognition is as powerful as money in network marketing. Absolutely. we can't tell you the number of times. Darren Ashby, the voice, right? When he does his presentation, he's reading those names. If he screws up a name, we get phone calls. Every time. I mean, yeah, I
Yes,
feel bad
I know.
for it. Call. I mean, let us know. I mean, we literally, if you go diamond and you want us to say it right, I mean, we do. I mean, Darren, you should see him. He'll be in at 7. He goes through them. He tries to get the phonetics figured out. Some names, it just doesn't work that way. You know, what is it?
That's his rapper name, Sugar Pop.
Yeah,
Sugar
we
pop.
could get Darren to throw sugar pop in there.
Dude, he would totally throw it.
Sam
Well, send me an email. Just gmoss@beachbody.com. I'll get him to say it. Darren will say it. Well, and he'll reference you as the rapper on stage or something.
Oh, I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay?
Okay, I know like it's probably purposeful that it's like so-and-so from Canada because, you know, with the Canada
Sure,
launch
sure.
and like, hyping that up. But now it's like, there are a lot of Canada people and I'm like,
Oh,
at
okay.
what point does that go away?
Okay. Well, I think the, you know,
Because we're all like, you know, it's like, no, I had nothing to, you know.
4-minute call, that means.
yeah, I think that the reason for that is it's a new country, we're launching it now, we want that country to grow, and the more we can spotlight it, yeah, well, and it's kind of one of those, the more we can kind of get people to understand there's a huge opportunity up there, you know, we do get a lot of leaders putting effort up there. And so, not that that's a different priority than Montana, it's just, you know, we've got kind of a, when you're launching a country, you've got a unique time frame to kind of kick it off,
Yeah.
right? And the more that you can use that, I think the better off you are. I mean, I'll bet you it's going to be a while before they cut that out. But I will say, I mean, we've been at like 90 diamonds a week, or we've hit 100 a couple of times. I don't know where we're averaging right now.
And I feel like a third of those diamonds or more are from Canada. I mean, I feel like we
Yeah.
give the Canada shout out.
That's true. We'll have to, I mean, guys, look at the Team Cup. I mean, they just are killing it right now. So there's some power in Canada. That's for sure. Yeah.
All areas of Canada, or just certain, like all the
That are
provinces
growing?
of Canada? No.
All the provinces are open.
Totally
Absolutely.
open Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to, I know we're doing some stuff with the French market as far as getting the language and getting, because we have to translate lots of different things to kind of be legal in Quebec. And that's one of those things we've got to work on. So I used to, when we worked at Melaleuca, I managed Canada for 5 years. So that was my territory, was all of Canada. But there's a huge, I mean, anyway, Canada, if you don't know, the population of Canada is literally like less than the population of California. But guys are having success, and there's lots of opportunity up there for sure. Okay, what else have I got? Elite coaches. 2012, we had 37 elite coaches. 2013, we had 117 elite coaches. This year, it'll exceed 200. And that's impressive, because Alethea can attest to this as well. Every year, we make that harder. Every year, we raise the bar on hitting elite to where we literally sit in meetings. You know, I was in the CAB meeting last leadership as like the new guy, and I don't know anything, but I'm sitting there listening to him argue, that's too hard. You shouldn't go that hard. Nobody will reach it. And, you know, every year, they set the bar, and every year you guys exceed it. So, you know, do we want 200 elite coaches? Honestly, probably not. I mean, it's hard. How do you put 400 elite chairs at Summit? I mean, so we're trying to keep that to be an elite program, you know, where you want less than 100 or right at 100, right? But we raise the bar. We make it hard, and then, you know, this year it happens, and it just, you know, people just exceed it. So, you know, Premier is a great goal, you know, but right now, we've got to get Premier dialed in a little better, because right now, Premier is kind of like I missed the lead, I got Premier. Nobody's really shooting for Premier. You know?
Can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah,
We
for
actually
sure.
talked with Jeff Hill and Jeff Kay about that.
Uh-huh.
We were very surprised about what Jen and I had to say about it. That's true in what you're thinking about. However, you guys are missing the other part. We've got about 7 or 8 coaches on our team right now that do not have an elite shot this year,
Okay,
but they have a shot for Premier.
okay, good.
So they are pushing for it. So yeah,
Good,
you're right, it's
good.
kind of a sloppy seconds for the
Mhm.
elite guys that bounce back to Premier.
Yep.
But there's a whole bunch of people that
Good.
have an opportunity
Yes,
to
yeah.
reach Premier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a group of 6 people that if there was no Premier, we would not be having a conversation because
Good,
they cannot
good.
reach elite this year based on team volume, because now that it's 125 points,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not really getting team volume in
Yeah,
excess
the
of
ATV.
30,000, you're probably
Well,
not
you
gonna
have to
make it.
grow by 110,000 and, yeah. if you
That's good, so
started
if you're a
this
brand
year-
new coach.
Yep.
So I've got 2 coaches that are 3-star this year alone.
Mm,
They probably won't make it based on their volume.
okay,
However, they are dialed in so bad for that Premier. So
yeah.
think about the newer people, the older
For
people.
sure, for sure. And I guess that's where I was going, is that we are working on getting Premier to be more, I mean, to make that a target. Now, I appreciate hearing that,
Yeah.
because we don't hear a lot
Because they
about
didn't hear
people
this, it was
shooting.
brand new information that they didn't even think of.
Yeah, yeah,
They thought if they just hear the elite guys crying that they're gonna be Premier.
yeah.
But you got the new guys so excited they're going to be.
Good, good. That's what we want it to be. I will tell you, on the cruise ship, you know, we had the elite reception, and you had Tony and Autumn and Sean were there, and it was really cool. And you're in one of those big bars, and you know they're hanging out, and everyone's having a good old time, you know. And it was a great party. I mean, nothing to take away from that. You go to the Premier reception, and it's like Autumn and 6 coaches, Tony with 6 coaches, because there were only 37 Premier coaches. So the Premier party was way more exclusive than the elite party this year. And so the Premier guys are like hanging with Autumn on the dance floor and, you know, hanging out with Sean T and Tony. I mean, it was so interesting, but, you know, it just so happened that, yeah, because of the sheer numbers.
They're so happy, they loved it there.
Yeah.
Our coaches loved it there, they laughed at us, we didn't get to talk to them. They had like a whole long spiel with us best friends now.
Yeah, so this year was like, you know, I guess, you know, when you launch a new program, some of that happens. And anyway, so I think we're still working to get that kind of dialed in. Let's see here. Okay, so the other one is by June, I think Darren said this the other day. By June, we had more rank advancements than we had all of last year, right, in the network. So that's outstanding. Okay? So I guess my question for you guys is, you know, you tell me why. What do you think is happening? You know, why is Beachbody having this growth right now? What is it?
Just
Compound effect? Okay. But I mean, lots of companies have that.
Well, I
mean,
think
you know.
it's the huge growth and people see it as more, like, more opportunity. I don't know, because before it was like, well, it's small, I don't know, and people probably advertise it, now it's getting bigger, and so
Okay.
the content is
So
growing
people are
faster.
more confident that
Right.
this is a power to be reckoned with. Okay.
I think over the time that we've started the network and the coaches are going out, we're proving over time that we have the integrity to stick. Like, I mean, when you first open a restaurant, a couple people go to it because they're excited there's a new restaurant in town, but it's not until you feed them amazing food that's awesome value and quality, and they go out and they tell their friends, and then more people come, and then the word spreads that this restaurant is awesome, and it stays open for that reason. As soon as you lose your integrity, as soon as you start focusing more on the money and you start dumbing down your food and adding cheaper ingredients, you're going to lose that effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not doing that with Beachbody. Like you said, we're continuously putting out better and better and better products. We're not better and better, but the same high, super quality products. So our integrity is there all the time, if not growing all the time.
I agree.
I have a
Oh,
personal.
wow. Sorry.
I'll wait.
Go ahead.
I think one thing that's different with Beachbody is the team environment as well versus
Mm.
competing with one another, and people see that.
For
So,
sure.
any prospective coaches or people that you talk to that weren't too sure, they're still watching you. They see that you love what you do, that you're a community with other coaches versus competing with other coaches. And I think the enthusiasm that I've even seen from other coaches, you can't help but feed off of that. And it makes other people reach out and want to be a part of it.
Well, people, I mean, interesting, but people want to belong to something. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there are churches all over the world based upon that concept. I mean, not complete, but it's this whole idea of, you know, people don't know their next door neighbors, but they want to belong to something. And so that is absolutely a true principle, where people love, and quite honestly, guys, we have this culture that's fun, it's exciting, it's cool to be a part of it. And so I 100% agree that there's a lot of people that just want to join something that, gets them healthy and, they can get paid to do it, but it's also, it's a fun thing. It's not a job, so they're excited about that. Yes.
I think we have amazing products that serve a legitimate need that we have to, that a lot of us don't have time to go to the gym. We have childcare, we have long commutes, we have crazy schedules, and I think that more and more people need a solution that can flex with our busier lives. And I also think Shakeology is a great product. And I just did a coaching sneak peek, and on the video for all the prospective coaches, I said, I have some homework for you. And I said, I want you to look around in your life, like at your workplace, your family. Do you know anyone who said to you, I need to lose weight? Or, people with high blood pressure and diabetes, or people who want to get more fit, or people who say, I don't have time to go to the gym, or I don't have time to eat healthy. I'm like, just observe your environment, because I'm trying to get them to see that, so many people legitimately need our products and what we have to offer, and they do what we say they're going to do if people use them.
Mm-hmm. And I would say this about that. There are, especially in the network marketing space, our product, we don't have to say, try this, it'll make you feel better, I promise, tell me what I don't have to go through this whole thing. There's not a person on the planet that will argue if they do P90X, something's going to happen. Honestly, it's like, nobody's going to say, I don't think it'll work. It's like, if you do it, it'll work.
Wow.
And so it is. I mean, it's awesome to have something that is just that credible. Let me say this too. What I love about Beach, but this is an interesting takeaway that I didn't realize until I started with the company. I moved to Utah, and I'm just over the hill in Alpine, and I'm in Alpine, and I'm meeting my neighbors, and people are like, so where do you work? And I'm like, well, I work for Beachbody. And they're like, what's Beachbody? I'm like, P90X. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here we have an unknown company with a household name brand. Right? Think how unique that is. Insanity, T25. I mean, the product is way more popular and known than the company is. And to me, when you guys are out sharing that, I mean, that takes away a huge barrier that most companies have to deal with. I mean, we are not, there's just no question that our products work, right? And our quality's there, and, that we're dialed in on that. But anyway.
So here's my thought. I've been in healthcare over 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And your question, why Beachbody, why now?
Mm-hmm.
Obesity is in the front line in our government. It's out there in our country. We're talking about it on a national stage. And what I see is people do not know how to shop for good foods. They don't know how to grow their own foods. They don't know how to prepare their own foods. There's been a lot of focus on large food companies that are making food that isn't really food. And so now you're getting a whole lot more awareness. And there have been compounded research studies where they've taken all the life studies and looked at them and said, our children right now, my 10-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, will live sicker and shorter lives than I will if we don't change something. And so you have a mass effect of change going on across the country. And to Kendra's point and to Caleb's, this company's proven itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just talked to my cousin the other day, and she said, I was looking at Advocare, but I don't want to put pills in my body. I want nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
I want food. I want real things. And so the groundwork has been laid. And so you talk about Carl being ahead of his time,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely ahead of his time, and the trend of obesity in this country. So starting back whenever he started, he now has laid a solid foundation whereby the people that are in this company that buy into it, that believe it, that see what it does, we are the advocates for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the country and the rest of the world is going, oh crap, look at that. I want that. I don't want to go and take pills and go to my doctor and do all these things. I want to be able to change my life naturally. And how do I cook?
Mm-hmm.
How do I prepare foods? What do I buy? What is grass-fed beef? What's not grass-fed beef? What's
Do the
line caught
ultimate
fish?
reset. You'll find things I didn't
Exactly.
know existed.
So I don't know that it's any one thing that has been super special.
Timing's
except
really
that
good.
Timing has clicked.
Sure.
And we have all of this momentum in our country to change what's going on.
That's a great point. When you look at like Whole Foods, right? Like Whole Foods, I mean, to me, that was always a California grocery store. Now they're popping up all over the place in here. And, you know, because people don't want to go to just a standard old grocery store. They want to have an organic option. So that's a great point, that it is, people are becoming more and more aware that there's a problem to solve.
And they're looking for answers.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the biggest factor, aside from the compound effect,
Mm-hmm.
what has enabled the compound effect to really take off is social media. I mean, over the since Team Beachbody was formed, you've had a bigger economic shift than most people realize with social media. And probably some of you have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk or watched or read his stuff. He's a social media guy, and he talks about the fact that we're much more like our grandparents in how we do commerce now. It's like, you know, they knew their butcher, they knew the dairy farmer, they knew all these people. We like relationship-based transactions nowadays, and with social media, you can do that on a global scale, basically. So we're building relationships essentially, but it's able to grow far beyond, you know, your own local community.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a great point. Gary, when we went out to receive the award of being ranked number 39, Gary Vaynerchuk was the speaker, right? And if you haven't read the book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, I mean, we could talk
By the
about
way,
that for hours.
I recommended, on the feedback form for Summit, I said, get him for keynote.
Yeah, honestly, he's on the list.
We'll take it.
I'll tell you though, he's not that this is bad, but we're at the DSA meeting where they're giving us the award for being ranked number 39. He's the speaker. Man, that guy, he gets up and he's just F-bombing like every word. I mean, he's just you know, kind of shrewd. But he gets up there. Here he is. He's in front of the 100 largest direct selling companies in the world. And he gets up there and he starts talking and he says, I effing hate social media. And we're all like, what? You're like the guy. Because then he starts naming, have you heard of this? He names like 6 .com startup things that he's like, you're gonna know them. And I hate, it changes so effing fast and da-da-da-da. And he just went, you know, and he was just kind of like, I'm the expert and I can't keep up. But what he said, what was interesting though, he's in front of this room with 100 network marketing companies. And he says, and let me just tell you, if you guys don't figure this out, you're done in 5 years. He says, and a lot of you are pathetic. I mean, he was just like as abrasive as I've ever seen it. And then what he did, he literally put up a graphic. He says, I went on to your social media and here's a diagram of your followers and how many followers you each have based on your companies and different social media. We rated you all the same. They were rated on bubbles, and the bubble said how many followers you had in each company. Beachbody was number 1 by double. I mean, our bubble was huge. Then the next one was somebody, and then it just kind of bubbled down, getting down to the smallest. And he said, guys, this looks great, and some of you are probably celebrating you're up there, but let me just say this. I have more followers than all of you. And you're going, oh. It's like, okay. So we got a lot of room. You know, there's a lot of improvement there. But he's very interesting. His book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. If you haven't read it, you know, being on Scotty's team and using social media, if you don't, you should all go listen again to the National Wake Up Call with Megan Ewaldson. So let me.
Just
go
to
ahead.
add to that on that book, it's not a why book, it's a how-to book.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't understand, don't what?
You won't be inspired.
Yeah. No, it's not a story. Yeah.
It's my kind of book. It's a directional book.
Well, and it's jab, 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 right hook. It's a boxing analogy, right? When you're boxing, your jabs, all that is doing is moving your guy to where when you throw a right hook, it lands, right? So that your right hook has power. So your jabs are just kind of a positioning thing, so the right hook can connect, okay? So the National Wake Up Call that Megan did was, if you don't know, Megan enrolled as a coach last year, January 4th. She hit elite last year, okay? She's an elite coach as of 2013 within her first 12 months. Megan Ewaldson, Ewoldsен. What's cool about Megan is she really was doing jab, 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 right hook before she read the book. And she describes that on the call, that it's like I was doing things and it was working for me and I was getting better and better at it. And then I read the book and the book really dialed me in. Like it's when the light bulbs went off and I realized, oh, that is what I'm doing and it's working. okay? The jabs, and her call is very good because it also gets into this idea of you've got to be patient with your right hooks. We have way too many coaches that send a jab at breakfast, a jab at lunch, and an invite at dinner, right? And then a jab at breakfast, a jab at lunch, and a right hook at dinner. I mean, that's not how that works. If you read the book, I mean, Megan is now to the point where she'll jab, jab, jab. She'll slide in a picture of her drinking out of a Shakeology bottle, say nothing about it, jab, doing a workout with her kid with an Insanity t-shirt on, say nothing about it, jab, jab, and then 2 weeks into the month, she'll throw a right hook and get 20 people to respond to it. She says she throws 2 right hooks or 2 invites a month and ends up with 40 people that are interested in joining her challenge groups and things like that. So the reason I tell you that, and again, I don't want you to change everything you're doing and do it. Guys, whatever you're doing is working, keep doing that. But understand that social media is one of those things that it builds. And you've got to figure out how to dial in your social media. One of the biggest lessons I've learned on social media was Amber Scott. So I was planning an event March 1st in Southern California. We called it SoCal Gets Fit. And what it was a big training event. We had Autumn Calabrese, who was brand new, so we had Autumn coming in. But I called Amber Scott and I said, Amber, I need you to do a training for me. She said, sweet, what do you need? If you don't know, Amber's top 10 coach. She signs anywhere from 10 to 20, 25 coaches a month. Like she's kind of a mass enroller. And I said, okay, so you're one of the best at bringing coaches to Beachbody. I want you to train on marketing and how to find coaches. She's like, I'm on it. I can do that. And I'm like, sweet. You take that and I'll call the next presenter. Get off the phone with her. 3 days later, she calls me back. She says, Doug, I've been trying to write my speech. I can't present that. I can't do that topic. And I said, why? I mean, Amber, you sign more coaches than anybody. You're the best at this. She says, Doug, I don't market and I don't find people. And I said, wait. What are you talking about? She goes, I attract people. And I said, oh, wow. Like that's a powerful statement, right? Because you're seeding the market with bits of information that get people to be excited about you. I mean, the best thing you can do is seed it with enough where they'll ask you the question, right? You know you've got somebody when they'll come to you and you don't have to send the invite. And if you can figure out how to do that where you're given just enough to where they'll come to you and say, man, what are you doing? I want to try that. That's when you know you're powerful. But you also need to be patient with your invites, and it doesn't have to be twice a month. I mean, she's just got hers dialed in at this point. And, others are doing it once a week, whatever works for you. I mean, you got to figure out your own. And I certainly don't profess to be the expert on that. But I will tell you, hers is working, and it's surely based on that book. And so, Gary Vaynerchuk is spot on. It does work, and if you manage it right. Scotty's the resident expert. I'll tell you this. This is an interesting Megan story. So Megan, it took her 18 months on her like page to get 10,000 followers. And she's like chasing Scotty and Amber with all these like pages with tens of thousands of people. And so, it's like, how do I build my like page and what am I doing? It took her on June 22nd of this year, she got to 10,000 followers. And she did a post, thank you for following me or liking my like page, blah, blah, blah. And it was really cool. What she didn't know is on June 5th, she did a video in her living room that was simple, not a big deal, really not that good. I mean, she's the one, and I bet there's going to be 5 to 10 people in here that saw it. She put the paper plates underneath her feet and then did the little ab workout with her paper plates.
Oh, yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah,
So that's Megan. So she does this little paper plate thing, plays music in the background, shows how to do it. The thing goes viral. I mean, so she ran the video on June 5th. On June 8th, she calls me and says, Doug, what do I do? This video is just blowing up. And I said, what are you talking about? So I log in. At that time, she had 36,000 shares. And I'm like, wait, there's no call to action. What do you do? There's like nothing there. So we took her URL and we edited it and put www.meganewilson.com at the top of it, right? So, okay, now you got someone going somewhere because this thing was blowing up. We call Scotty, literally. I'm like, who's the resident expert? Let's call Scotty Hop. So we call Scotty and say, Scotty, what do we do? Have you ever had this happen? Scotty's like, I think I've had 1,200 shares. It's like, and then we called Amber Scott, and Amber was like, Doug, I think I've had, maybe 1,000, 800. I mean, this was off the charts. So over the course of the next 10 days, that was shared 215,000 times. And it's not on YouTube. It's just on Facebook on her like page. So only she can see the views. When it had 36,000 views, it had been viewed 2.4 million times. Now it's been viewed 17.6 million times. And it's a video, if you watch it, it's like, oh my crap. Like it's not even original.
It's just a simple.
Yeah. A 1.5 minute little ad workout thing. That's right.
It's great. Okay, good.
But I think the point is being consistent with your posts, being creative, come up with, whatever, watch for things out in the market. And I mean, for her, that one just lit up. And trust me, it doesn't happen. I mean, that's like crazy. But if you go look at her now, or like her like page, it literally in 10 days went from 10,000 to 48,000 on her like page. Yeah. And anyway, it was funny because she tried out and made the Insanity talent team. And so the first week of this month, she was flown out to Santa Monica to do a video shoot for Insanity. And she called me and said, Doug, I'm not going to be able to work, like literally the first week of the month. From the 1st through the 7th, I'll fly back in on the 7th. I'm slammed. They were moving houses. They were moving from one house to another house up in Seattle. And she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have 300 people that are commenting to me. She hired her sister-in-law to kind of an assistant because she was like, I can't even do all this. The funny thing is, she's gone for 7 days. I call her on the 8th, and I'm like, hey, we got to get you back in. What are you doing? She goes, you're not going to believe it. I literally haven't touched my business since the 1st, and I logged in today, and I have 18 Success Club points, and I don't even know where they came from. So people are just buying stuff. It's like, okay. Anyway, so I know that doesn't happen, but it's happening right now for her. My point to you is, manage your social media, be consistent with it. It does work, to your point. Social media is, let me say this, you're not going to build a huge business in your warm market, right? You've got to figure out a way to meet people that you don't currently know, okay? And obviously social media is absolutely, that avenue. There's other things, and somebody in here will figure out another one, but right now, that works. And the better you get at it, and the more consistent you get, the better you're going to be. I'll tell you one more social media story that I think is really cool. So so you can write this one down and go look at her. I'm going to have to call her because I've used her like 4 times at meetings this week. Elise Hubbard, E-L-Y-S-E, Hubbard, H-U-B-B-A-R-D. Hubbard, yeah. She was the story at Summit on stage with Michael Neiman. So Michael interviewed her. She only did 2 success stories or 2 Beachbody stories at Summit. She was one of the 2. She's someone that I flew to Hawaii and I was doing one-on-ones with coaches. I'm sitting in the Waikiki Marriott, and as glamorous as that sounds, we literally sit down at 8 o'clock in the morning. We go every hour until we had a market council meeting that night at 8, and then we go through. So it's just a long day. What's crazy about that is Elise was like my 5 o'clock appointment, and my 6 o'clock called and canceled. So I had 2 hours with Elise. And we sit down with Elise and we start talking. And she's a diamond coach. Her story, she just starts sobbing, and it's this really emotional thing. And she's military. Her husband is, on the bases, whatever, in Hawaii. He's in the Navy. She used to be Navy. Now she has these 2 little boys. So he's the Navy guy. But she, literally, they were transferred to Hawaii like 7 months before. She became a coach when she got to Hawaii. Long story short is she had to tell her family goodbye. Like she literally said, Mom and Dad, I'll see you in 3 years. I can't afford to fly home from Hawaii. We don't have the money. It's just not going to happen. So chalk it up to, I'll see you, in 3 years. And so it's really kind of this emotional thing for her. So she tells you the story. And this is a lady that, she was like, she said, man, this is the best hotel I've ever seen. I've never been in a fancy hotel. And I'm like, it's nice, whatever. I can't wait to see her at leadership, because when we walk into the Fairmont Princess, her head's going to explode. Because it's like, if the Fairmont Princess is like 10 times where we were. But what's cool about that story is she's making like $250 a week, so it's $1,000 a month, has absolutely changed her world, in such a huge way that it's like, she's just can't believe how exciting Beachbody is and how Beachbody is her whole world. Well, she friended me on Facebook, and I'm like, all right, obviously, I'll use she friended me on Facebook. Doug E. Moss, whatever. So it's Doug E. Moss, not Doug Moss, just so you know.
Like Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh. Actually, there's a story about that. So it's Doug, the letter E, Moss. Long story short about that is she friends me on Facebook, and I'm in Hawaii for like 3 days, and I start getting these posts, and I start seeing Elise's posts, and she puts herself out there. I mean, I went running this morning, and she'll stop and shoot this video where she kind of cries, or she does something emotional, or whatever, and you watch her post, and you're like, this is powerful. Like, she's just real. I mean, she just kind of puts it out there, and she's talking to her team, and she's got this little team of like 5 builders, and it's just really cool to watch. I'm sure some of you do this, but it was just cool to watch hers and see her posting like 3 times a day, and how active she was on Facebook. Well, this is like April. We used her at Summit, to tell the success story. Last week she went 4-star, and this week she went 5-star qualifying. So it's just, and I'm telling you, the only thing that I think she does is dialed in on Facebook and doing her active posts. I mean, guys, this is somebody that is she's just a cool person, 2 little boys at home, busy as heck, keeping track of her kids. Husband's military, so it's not like he's around. She's not signing all military coaches, so you can't say, oh, she's military and that makes it easier. None of that. It's all social media. She's building her team, but she's actively posting all the time, every day. And it's not Shakeology, Beachbody, insane. I mean, it's just real world stuff to her. She's attracting people like her, and she's killing it. So I tell you that because you should go just watch what she's doing, pay attention to. You're gonna see she's gonna make a leap this year. I mean, there's no question she's gonna get there. But anyway. So she was the story because it absolutely changed her life back then. I mean, I think her last check, she's now making like $1,500 a week, and she's just like, anyway, just can't even believe it.
She can pay for an airline ticket now. She can pay for an airline ticket.
Well, anyway, there's a story about that too. She had a cousin die and had to go home like the next day, and was able just to go buy tickets and fly home. Yeah, no, that's where she just sobs when we talk about it. But anyway, it's just a real cool story. When we put her on stage at Summit, it was because, man, this is powerful. And it's one of those $200 a week things that you're like, man, $200 a week can fix people. I mean, it just changes things. But then she just saw the vision of it and is just continuing to go. So anyway, I like the question thing. Let me ask you the next question. We'll have to get, Shiva and Jen and Scotty involved in this one. You guys are here, right, for this weekend, right? You've got this event. You guys have some of the best coaches in the company in this room, okay? And let me tell you how powerful that is, okay? So this is like a workshop at Summit, right, where you guys have these guys private. All your questions can get answered. Any things you're struggling with, they're here, they're in the room. They can answer everything you guys need to know. My point to you is don't miss this opportunity, okay? I hope you understand that there's a quote that it happens in network marketing all the time. And it's a quote that says, you're not a prophet in your own land. Okay, now what that means is that in your own area and on your own team, people get tired of listening to you, right? It's like, oh, Scotty Hobbs, I've heard Scotty Hobbs. I don't want to listen to Scotty anymore. He's doing call. I'm going to skip Scotty's call. Or whatever. Guys, if I fly Scotty to LA, I could put 1,000 people in a room. And I hope you get that, right? If I fly Mike Ryan to this meeting today, you would all take pages and pages of notes, everything Mike Ryan says. You would absolutely be like, Mike Ryan, oh, this is what Mike Ryan said. And he could word for word present what Scotty Hobbs would tell you to do, and you would still take more notes from Mike Ryan than you will from Scotty. Honestly, I mean, it absolutely is a true statement. I hope you understand how good these guys are. I mean, literally. I mean, Scotty's top 10. Like, that doesn't just happen, right? I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that to get that done. And so, listen, take this weekend, solve whatever thing that it is that you're struggling with. And if it's the one thing that nobody else in here is struggling with, then go freaking grab him and go into one of these 40 bedrooms and ask him how to fix it, right? I mean, honestly, you all have your own stories. Everybody's not the same, and it doesn't matter what your story is, you will attract people. I mean, Everybody's looking for something, so don't miss that, okay? So here's my question for you. What are you struggling with? What is it that you guys need to overcome to become, you know, if it's not elite this year, it's a 5-star this year, it's a 10-star next year, whatever it is. What are you struggling with? Who's first? Come on. Yes.
I'll go first. I think for someone who's newer, like myself, or someone who's not having success yet, sometimes it's getting control over your own life, and sometimes it's giving up things that are good, that maybe aren't bad things, and more importantly, things that you love. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get carried away talking about it. I just love dancing. Dancing is my life. I love dancing. I go out dancing probably 4 or 5 nights a week. Doesn't matter what it is, salsa, merengue, country dancing. And it's great, and yeah, it's a good place that you can meet people. It's not an ideal place to talk to people. I do get some exercise in, but the problem is if I go out dancing from 9 to 10, you know, I have to get ready at 8:30, you know, so now
Sure.
I can't do anything from 8:30 to 9. I go out dancing from 9 to midnight or 1, and then when I come home, it takes me a while to unwind, and I go to sleep, and it's 2 o'clock, so then I sleep in a little too long in the morning, and there's no way to have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
For sure.
If you want success, you know, you have to give up and do some things. Like I've been watching Gabby lately, you know, she's maybe not a morning person, but she's trying to be, and I'm kind of like that. So maybe you do have to sacrifice sleep. Maybe I do need to give up dancing temporarily. And for some people, that's super, super hard. And the other thing, and I don't mean to monopolize too much time, you know, I've been in other network marketing companies, and it's the same with this. People have a fear of changing and a fear of getting out of their own comfort zone, because that's why they call it a comfort zone. You're comfortable there. And so what I've found in other instances is as soon as I start feeling like I'm about to be successful, there's usually like a chasm that you have to get across that's a little larger. And it's a kind of a scary thing to take that jump and leave your group of friends or what you're comfortable doing or whatever to get across there to the other side.
Yep.
So most people in that instance, including me, you turn around and you retreat back to where you're comfortable, because it's easier to not fail or to not face that fear of failure than to jump across that chasm. And so you just go back. Like in my other particular network marketing company, you know, I was starting to lead the calls and, you know, welcome people to the calls we were having and things like that. And my friends were getting upset at me because they said, well, you don't hang out with us anymore, you don't do this and you don't do that and blah, blah, blah. And it started bothering me that people didn't want me, you know, losing their friendship or leaving them or whatever. So rather than lose those friends, who probably weren't the best friends anyway, I retreated back into that circle instead of venturing out into something new that was unknown.
So I would respond to that this way. Yesterday, we had Brigida tell her story at a meeting. There you go. So yesterday, I loved Brigida's story on the idea of sacrifice. You know, because there was a lady there that was a diamond coach with a brand new 4-month-old baby. And her question was, because I did the same thing. I said, you know, what do you struggle with? And her answer was, I just don't know, you know, how do I balance my time? I've got this new baby, and, you know, I just don't know when I have time in the day to do this. And Brigida's response was, well, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you have to make the sacrifice to do it or not do it. And then she proceeded to tell her story of, guys, she doesn't get up early. She gets up at 3. Right? She's 3, and she did. Today it's not as bad, but when she started, 3 a.m. to 7, she would write all her posts for the day. She would have them dialed in. She would copy and paste them so that she had them on her phone. So when she got to the time of day when she felt like the post would go, she could post it on her phone no matter where she is. And she had that all dialed in. But she was like, I have, 4 kids, 5 kids, same kind of deal. 3 kids? What is she at? 3. Okay. But it's the same deal where she's like, I have to make a sacrifice in order to grow this business. And that's exactly what she did.
I think one thing, like, Brigida, I remember you say like 3. I remember specific conversations on the phone with her where she doesn't work on Sunday. Like, that's her thing. She decided. She would literally, it was kind of funny, like, as we talked to her and worked through it over the time, is, family was for her church, God, and her family. So she would make these little things, like she would go to bed at 6, which took away from family time on Sunday evening.
Oh,
You wake
wow.
up at literally 1 o'clock, 12:30 in the morning to work. Those are the type of sacrifices that she made.
Yeah. And we're not telling you you gotta do
Yeah,
that.
no,
I'm not telling you that, but I am saying that, you know what, I mean, it just depends on how bad you want it. Let me make this point too. This is a business where you achieve your goals, okay? Now, and let me clarify that, okay? I talk to many elite coaches who are like, man, I gotta get her to diamond and I'll advance. I gotta get him to diamond. I gotta get, and it's like, okay, wait, stop. What do they want? Like, what is it they're trying to do, right? Because if you're not dialed in on what your people want to accomplish, okay? So Brigida and Scotty, I had a talk with Scotty the other day where I said, okay, we're talking about top 10. How do I get top 10? And the thing was, okay, we got to get more people hitting Success Club. And it's like, do you know? So for elite, the coaches that count the most for elite are 2013, 2014 coaches. And I won't get into all the rules, but it's this idea of, talk to your PS coaches. Why are they a coach? Like, and I understand their why, and we can talk about that. But I would ask them the question: are you a coach? Number one, for the discount. Number two, is it so you can get your Shakeology for free? Number three, is it to help people? Number four, is it to make $1,000 a month? Or number five, to make $10,000 a month, right? If their answer is the discount, then they've met their goal. Great, congratulations, we love you, keep doing that, right? If their goal is to get their Shakeology for free, well then get them to help to get to their goal, and congratulations, they achieved their goal. If their answer is anything else, then they need to be hitting Success Club 5 every month, right? Because if your answer is, I'm going to help people, which it seems to be a lot of people's answer, which is fine, well then you got to invite people to challenge groups, so you're really not helping people, right? You got to put yourself out there, or even that goal isn't being met. And if they're saying I want to make $10,000 a month, they need to be hitting Success Club 10, because if you watch the Shakeology panel, they walk you through exactly the numbers of how the math adds up to get you there faster if you're doing Success Club 10 versus Success Club 5. So guys, this business is a math problem. You do the work, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8. I mean, that's literally how this thing works. But understand, you all have your goals. You all know what you want to achieve in this business. And you can't say as much as possible, because then I'm going to say, okay, by when? And that doesn't work. So you have to be able to say, I want to be making $200 a week by the end of the year, or I want to be making $500 a week by the end of the year, right? Because you can do that, and you can reverse engineer that to figure out exactly how many people that is, and exactly what work that's going to take in order for you to accomplish that goal. And then you just got to go do it. Anyway.
With some small sacrifices.
That's right. Well, you have to. Well, then that's the question of what would it mean to you to make $1,000 a month, or what would it mean to you to do this? Because then it goes back to your why. And I think it was Miguel Carrasco on the thing that a why that makes you cry, or whatever. I heard Carl say it late in the day during the search. And guys, your why is important. You have to be motivated by something, because this business is going to get hard. It's not easy. It doesn't just happen. You have to have something in you that drives you to continue through the hard spots. Right? You're going to get told no by your best friend. You're going to get told no by your mom, and that's going to offend you. And you know what? You've got to be able to have a why strong enough that you can get through that, right? Because this isn't, it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to do it. Anyway, what else do you struggle with? Do you have anything else?
Think about that one. It reminds me of when I started, and we got kids over here, like Scott leads the softball. Like, I love softball. We play 2 times a week, and still one day I'll play every day, but I'm still working hard. But, if I played a softball game at 6, I got to be there dressed up, get the kids in the car, get stretched, throw a ball, get them home after the game. An hour of softball game is 3 hours. So I had to, tell Scott, my friend, him and I, we love playing softball together. And I just had to tell him, like, hey, I'm doing beach body right now. Like, I love softball. And, he's always been supportive of that. But, some on the team make fun of it and laugh about it. And, I remember we were just talking the other day. I had Fit Club invite papers, before I could pick. All of them got crumpled up and thrown in the garbage can. But it was just like, I'm going to do this, and I told him, I was like, I'm building a business right now with Team Beachbody, and after a year, maybe a year or two, I can play softball every day of the week, but right now, I need that time to work on my business.
It's like Dave Ramsey says, live like nobody else, so later you can live like nobody else. No one wants to make those. No one wants to make those little sacrifices.
Yeah, we can have, you have the friends, I got this guy who's not there, he's not our friend anymore.
Your pizza guy, see?
Yeah.
Got me.
But one thing too that I was touching, everyone knows I talk about, the more that you can figure those things out, like the dancing. Jennifer has a great video about the 5 things that define you. If dancing is one of your things, those on your way to, during, and on your way back, those could be jabs. Jab, jab, jab. Quick post on the way there, on my way to dancing. This is a life casting business. So are you life casting about it? You know what I mean? Like, not something you
Dancing is you could actually like make it part of the value that you add to your audience. Like you could have like a dance move of the day or a dance move of the week where you just showcase a little thing. And so many people would watch that and share that.
especially if you've been doing it for so long, use that talent.
Yeah, you can part
You know?
your
Yeah.
brand where
Not too many people would watch the softball thing, but because it's a baseball thing, it's a baseball thing, it's an acquired sport, you know what I mean? But something that if you're this good, if you're this good, then maybe it's something you can do. Maybe make a post on Instagram on your way to from on the way back. Those are your jabs. And then right before you go to bed, maybe a call to action. And that way you don't have to give it up.
That's a great point. I mean, and it's a unique niche that nobody else is, that not very many are doing. And yet on social media, there's thousands of people checking out that hashtag that you could dive into. So it is. That's a great point.
We love that.
Don't overthink your posts. And you have to. Anyway, it's interesting to me that some people really try hard to come up with the best posts. What should I post? And you do have to be strategic, right? But you also need to be real. You're not trying to reinvent you or come up with somebody else who you are. You literally have to just, tell them who you are. This girl last night who had the 4-month-old baby, right now her business is just blowing up because she just had the baby and she's posting about it. And now all these new moms are chiming in, and that's her little world right now. And it's great because she's signing all kinds of, moms who just had babies who want to lose the baby weight. And so, understand, you guys, just don't overthink who you are. Go with it, and that's where it all comes from. All right, what else are you struggling with? Yeah.
Being in the market at Montana.
Yep.
Everybody knows about the informal commercial side, but the coaching side actually didn't find Beachbody through a coach. I didn't know the coach existed. I have a business background, and so I was looking for something new for the last 18 months. And my husband, I was reading a book, One Minute Manager, and my husband was reading something with Robert Kiyosaki, and both of them just tie together as network marketing. So I started doing my research on network marketing companies, and I saw Beachbody, and I thought, Beachbody, that's insanity. And I linked the two together. And so I just started doing a bunch of research online about who's in the top 10, and that's how I found Scotty. And so when I talk to people, I'm passionate about it. Every ounce of my being is like, this is the deal, And my husband's the same way. Within a week, he's like, sign me up, I want to be a coach. And he makes good money. He could care less, but he would rather do this than do what he's doing. And I'm having trouble with people just thinking, you're a coach, what is that? That's not even a job, So it's just kind of introducing people to something they have no clue about.
For sure. Well, and it's interesting. Let you guys kind of comment on this. This whole idea of there's 3 things that at the company we've done some research recently, and that leadership we're going to actually talk about. But there are 3 things that most coaches struggle with. Okay, the first one is their confidence, right? You've got to get confident in what you're doing, what you're talking about. The second is where to find people, and the third is what to say. Right. So it's what to say, because you've got to get dialed in on the message that you're sharing, so that people, want to understand. Obviously anybody who says to you that, I don't know, this is a real thing. You've got Scotty Hobbs as your enroller. How much more real can it get? So, I guess that's my point to you would be, you've just got to get to where you get dialed in on presenting it in such a way that they understand what that is. But I would, turn to you guys and say, how would you, how do you teach somebody to tell their story or to get the information across to get people to listen more?
I kind of do like the feel,
For me.
no, not forming, I forget, where you relate to them and say, I felt the same way.
Oh, empathy.
But what I found is, and this is how it came out. So, you know, like, I felt the same way when I found out about Beachbody. I was skeptical. I thought it was going to be another one of those things, you know, where I wasted my money. But now that I've done it, and I did my research, and I learned, and I did X, Y, Z, whatever it is that you did, the research that you did, you share that with people and let them know why you felt that it was credible. And you just kind of share your experience with why you felt that way. So when you tell them that you felt the same way, it makes them feel comfortable knowing that they're not the only one that feels a little shady about it.
So the feel, felt, found, where it's like, I know how you feel, here's what I felt, here's what I found.
She also does the all I know. I don't know, but all I know. She does that. I forget it was on a coach call.
Oh, that was from Summit Workshop last year.
I think it was, who said it?
Tommy Micron?
Was it, what's her name from Japan?
Oh, yeah.
Tara Carr. Tara Carr. I don't know, but all I know is, since I started, you know, I don't know, all I know is,
Yeah, that's
you
a
know,
great way to answer it, yeah.
you know, because it's a true answer. All I know is that I was bankrupt, and now I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
Why was the house empty? I don't know, but all I know is that I sold a contract.
That's exactly what she does. She's like, I don't know, all I know is that I earned the money to pay for something. And that's what she does.
That's right.
Those are her whys.
That's great. But I would tell you, you know, grab Scotty when you get him this week, and because you know, Montana, every market's different. I mean, it absolutely is. You know, see, you know, what you can figure out for your market that's a specific niche, and figure out how to address it.
It's
You know,
true, because
I'll
we're
take
taking
you
over
guys-
Wisconsin right now.
Yeah.
You know, we are in Wisconsin big time because nobody was there, and Jennifer started like saying, you know what, let's look to where people are not. And let's find a couple people, and then she found them, and because they were so snowed in all year, she's like, I can use this. And I think that's one of the candidates' things. They're like, nobody can get anywhere. All they got is a television, so they might as well work out all day. So, you know, so she's absolutely taking over.
You just wear a cheese head, everyone.
So,
They love you.
Absolutely taking over.
As long as you're a Packer fan,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
good. You know.
And you know, the other thing, the sooner that you can get them to watching a sharing tool, like you don't have to do the talking, and that's the cool thing. You can get them to watch a video because, you know, there's so much money that Beachbody puts into these videos, like the what is Team Beachbody and like what is coaching or those videos, the decide video.
I really agree with you on that. The first week after I joined, right before I went on vacation, which was kind of that timing. But as soon as I scheduled a shake and share, I had 75% of the group sign up.
That's awesome.
But my issue is I'm totally new to Facebook, so I'm trying to learn social media. And I have a crazy life. I have a home of 8, so trying to balance that and then do my social media, I'm trying to get a time management down. But how are you advertising without advertising on Facebook for Shake and Share or Challenge Group?
Well, I guess
Behind the
everyone's just different on how they do that. Like Scotty never really posts a mass like during my challenge group thing, and I don't really either, except maybe like once or twice a month. But I have a specific niche. Like I work with police wives, so I don't really say join my 21-day fix challenge group. I've created my own challenge group called the Police Wives Academy. So like I'll say I'm taking applications for my fall recruits for the Police Wives Academy. And then I also do most of my invites with like personal one-on-one messaging.
Everything's by message. With us, everything's by
It
message.
is cool the niches people are in. Last night we met a lady that she's a wife to a professional basketball player in the Ukraine. So she spends 9 months a year in the Ukraine. And it's just, she's like all the basketball wives, she's got them all. And then Brandy Bob's with baseball. I mean, she's got all the baseball wives and, you know, Stephanie Chico and baseball wives. Anyway, it's just a real interesting how, you know, the dancing, I mean, you just got to figure out who you are and get out there. And there's so much opportunity there.
Kendra was going to do a
I do a lot of my inviting behind the scenes, and a lot of what I do on Facebook is to try to find who I can invite and a reason to invite. So, for example, when I talk about my meal planning sheet, which is just something I made in PowerPoint, and I'll like show a picture and be like, oh, I'm doing my meal plan. Does anyone want this? I'll get like 80 people to respond, and I wait for them all to respond, and then I'll like post a link to it. But people will tell me their needs. They'll say, oh, I'm really busy, you know, blah, 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 I have trouble with this. So then I go through and message each person individually and I say, hey, I saw what you posted, what, you know, tell me more about what you struggle with and whatever, and then we get the conversation going. And like, I'm low on successful points this month, so I posted on my life page a giveaway for E&E, and they, in order to be entered, you had to tell me like a struggle that you're having or something you want to work on with your health and fitness. Well, I'm going to message all those people and start talking to them. So, you know, and it's all in the beginning about questions like, what are you struggling with, what do you need, whatever, and then I can say, you know, this is what I'm doing, this is something I think that really benefit you, this is how it meets those needs you have, so that I don't have to as much go and say I'm running a challenge group, but I'm trying to ask questions and get information from people that signals to me that they're looking for what I have, and then I can do all that through private messaging.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
about social media, I'm still very much growing in social media myself, but I think there's a common theme among a lot of these conversations is there's a mistake that's often made, and I see it on my team a lot, of I say, are you starting conversations out there? Are you putting yourself out there for people? And they say, well, yeah, I posted this post and everyone saw it, but I didn't get any engagement. And I say, okay, you're creating that public trust, you're showing people what you're about, but are you behind the scenes interacting with people? Are you actually inviting them? Are you actually starting conversations behind the scenes where nobody's watching? And that's such a common thing that's missed. So social media is kind of like this platform that you can put yourself out there, and people are like, wow, they're really putting themselves out there. And they're just watching, but unless you have that one-on-one connection with them, and you initiate that a lot of times, it's not always, when you first start out, it's not always an attraction market where you just put yourself out there one time, or you make a video or a post, and everyone flocks to you. Like, you have to be active, you have to put yourself out there, but also go out there and say, this is what I'm about for real, and I want to connect with you on a personal level, and I want to do this with you. I don't know, that's just my...
Yeah, and you really have to figure out what works for you. I mean, and you know, you're next, but I want to say that this is one of those things that, guys, if I could give you advice, honestly, that I've figured out as I've gone out and met with coaches, when you're building to diamond and you kind of get into that routine of building to diamond, when you achieve diamond, write down what you did. Like, literally, go get a piece of paper and write down the activities that got you to diamond. Okay? Because let me tell you what happens. Okay? I'll give you the big scary, honestly, this is what happens to most diamonds. And I'll give you a football analogy. This is the best way I can describe it. I believe that when you sign up as a coach, you're on offense and you're driving towards a touchdown, right? And the touchdown is diamond. And you're like, I'm going to get there, and you're doing everything you can to figure out how to score that touchdown. And what happens is, bam, you score the touchdown, you celebrate, you're so excited, I'm a diamond, right? Then what happens? You immediately go on defense. And what happens is, I'm a diamond. Oh crap, I'm going to lose a coach, and replace her. Yay, I'm still a diamond. You know, and you're on defense, protecting your lead the whole time. And you're like, just watching your team. You I wouldn't say you're pretending, but you're working with the one or two leaders you have. You're certainly not 50-50, but you're on defense. You're trying to protect this diamond that we've put on this stage and made you think is so amazing. Guys, if you'll get back on offense and do the activities that got you to diamond, your business will grow and advance faster, right? Because I'm telling you, it happens every time. I'll sit down and talk to diamonds, and it's like, I'll sit down with them, and it's like, I'm doing this, and this. Well, what got you to diamond? Oh, yeah, no, I've got so much better. I fixed it. I'm doing this, and it's like, don't fix it. Go do it, because that's what will get you to 1 star. Yeah. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was just saying it's the same thing, basically, that you have to deal with Success Club, because every month you go back to 0.
That's right.
So-
10 yards, 100 yards.
That's right. That's right.
So it's kind of like every month, start out, you're a new coach, you know?
And if you'll keep that in mind, guys, stay on offense. Don't go on defense. Don't protect your lead. Don't get to diamond and go, yay, I'm a diamond, celebrate. I'm so cool. I got this diamond label on me now. Guys, that is not the goal. Unless it is. If that was your goal, happy for you. We'll celebrate with you. You can stay at a diamond. But I'm yet to meet somebody who wants to just stay at diamond. Because I'll be honest, diamond is probably the most stressful spot, not only for you, but for your upline as well. Like everybody, diamonds is like crazy, right? So you got to get off of that. Like diamond is not a destination, okay? It's just a means to an end. You're going right through it. Don't go on defense. Just stay on offense. Do what you were doing to get there, and it'll get you to one star. What is your struggle? Didn't you say something?
Yes, I have this stupid fear of success.
Okay.
Because I've set goals and seen Scotty do it and Revita and firsthand, like from the very beginning, and seen it's possible. Like I know it's possible, but then I hear about the sacrifices, and I understand. Like I'm willing to do the sacrifices, but I don't know. I'm just like, well, I want to work to bring my husband home, but like I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like that's been my dream job. Like I don't want to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to work. I enjoy coaching, but I don't want to be tied down to, because I feel like I've been a hobby coach, you know. Like I got to diamond by doing what I love, and I don't want it to get to the point that I have to do it, because it's happened so many times with like my hobbies. You know, I start selling stuff, and then I have to do it, and it's not fun anymore because I have to do it. And so I'm afraid to get to that point where it's like all these requirements, and it's no longer going to be like something that I thrive and enjoy.
How was your response?
Want me to get that one?
Yeah.
So this sounds kind of like Chris Ballmer.
Okay.
Chris Ballmer. So Chris Ballmer, I mean, very successful coach. I looked up to him as a very successful coach before I even started. Yet he works at a $38,000 a year job still. And he works 60, 80 hours a week and makes more money than most doctors make as a beach body coach. And he's stressed out all the time. And he's working on leaving. Like I've had phone calls with him. But his fear is leaving his job. He'll feel like Beachbody will be like he's got to count on that now because he doesn't have a stable, secure job. And I think, so he has tons of money with Beachbody, but that job, he feels like if he leaves that job, he leaves the stability, and he has to count on Beachbody now to provide for his family. And then now it's a job, and he started it because he wants to do it, because he loves helping people. Original P90X, now Body Beast. And I think overcoming a lot of that is going to be listening to what I've seen is listening to books about, about being, like it's okay to be successful, and like it's okay to to have an income goal, like to have to be a $1 million earner, but tie purpose to that money. What are you going to do to serve people with that money? Like when you have that, and helping like Chris overcome that fear. I would just say, like, I overcame those fears leaving my job at Iowa Steel by reading books about, to just help me realize that there was unlimited potential for me, and that the skills that I was learning as a Beachbody coach weren't just to make me a great Beachbody coach, but I could be great at anything that ever came in the future. You could be greater as a mom. And I fully feel that the more awesome you do at being a stay-at-home mom and just doing Beachbody for fun, the more your business is going to grow, because people are going to see you as a successful mom. Like I believe my business is successful because I can work hard, focus for 6 hours a day, and I can unplug for 3 days and not work. And that attracts people that want to be an awesome dad that's out fishing with their kids. But yet, I have a tied purpose to being a $1 million earner or being a 15-star diamond, and I focus my hours on this, and then I focus the hours on the time on the kids, and unfortunately, for you guys, my top role as a human being isn't to be the best Beachbody coach. It's to be the best, dad and husband. And the more that I be that person, the more successful the business is. So just, you just have to learn to, like, through reading books about successful business owners and tying purpose to your money or tying purpose to what you do, that it's okay to, to do that. But, like, what are you gonna do with that income that you grow if you're afraid of success, per se? And then realizing that the more successful you are at living life, which comes back to the books again, the better you become, the better you books, the better you can help other people, the better you can be as a mom. And then it'll just be, at that point, more books on how to be disciplined, like during this time on this role, during this time on this role, during this time on this role. And then just realizing that if you stay focused on your main purpose or your role, which is a mother and a wife, and then your second role is, let's say, each successful business owner, that if you're good at your life, you're successful at life, and controlling your life and being disciplined in your life, that's going to attract people that are going to do that as well, and they'll be, that'll increase your business as well.
We had several coaches, including Jennifer, when I got involved, because Jennifer hated it. She didn't want me to get involved because she knew that I was going to turn this into a business. She wanted to just be a diamond and stop there. That's all she wanted. She wanted to get her nails done. And I was like, hey, I've been reading a couple of things, and she's like, no, I know
You
what
can
you're
do
gonna
more.
say. And I'm like, no. I saw this picture about what a diamond could make, and she's like, no, you don't need to worry about that. I said, well, what about a 2-star diamond? She's like, and then she started getting scared, and she actually backed off a little bit because Jen was very afraid of succeeding because she knew that she was going to have to step up and be a leader, and that was the last thing she ever wanted to be in her life. She's a self-proclaimed doormat since the day she was born, and that's what she's known for. And she's like, I don't want to lead a team. But then I'm like, you know what? There are so many things that you could be doing to help. It's not about you. It's about your child. It's about my mother who's bankrupt as well. It's about your parents. It's about me. It's not just about you, and you can make a legacy for so many people. And then Scotty turned her on to the magic of thinking big. And we read that book, and we had, and every coach that we've told to read that book, I said, okay, now I can picture it. Your main goal is to picture being in that spot, whether it's like Caleb over there, his dream is to make $1 million to give it away, or something like that. It doesn't have to be like mine, to own a fleet of Maseratis. That's what my dream is. You know what I mean? That's just what I want. That's why me and what's her name get along so well. Melissa McAllister, she's got a car for every day of the week. That's what I like. But that's my why. But in turns, she's now got 4,000 people in her downline that are directly touched because she decided to do something with her life. And she gets messages, handwritten emails, and private notes that she has saved lives. And she has prevented people from suicide, or she has touched. And all that, so that's what magic thinking big is, and that's what it's about. So you've got to get to that point. That's all personal development. That's all he used to drill us every day. Jen would be like, hey, I sang. She's like, oh, I don't care, how much did you read? I didn't read, it's not important. If you want it sustainable, it's got to be read. And he was right. He's 100% right. Personal development.
And honestly, it's the 3 vital behaviors of Beachbody are awesome, right? And they're so dialed in, and it's interesting that they are what they are. You have to look out into the industry and see what other companies focus on. That's unique to Beachbody. That's 100% unique. That we would literally, tell you to focus on something other than the company and making money. That it's like, go read a book. It's like most companies like, well, you don't have time to read a book. Let's get to work. Let's do more. But this is great.
I read your story about the guy that had been a coach for 2 years, and he was fine being Emerald because of how it had changed his life. Like, that loyalty is what Beachbody's, like, what sets Beachbody apart is that loyalty. It's not about the money, it's just, the more you focus on other people.
For sure. And to kind of go back to your point, it is, guys, these are your goals. You set them. You get to take this as far as you want to take it, right? You'd mentioned, bring my husband home. Guys, that's a long-term, big, scary goal. I think that's one of those that's like, wow. I mean, honestly, at the company, it scares us to death when people quit their jobs. And like, I'm going full time. It's like one of those where we're like, wait, man. I mean, if you're making twice as much money at Beachbody as you are in your day job, maybe, right? But you're never going to hear the company say, you should quit and build this business. Like, that's not what we talk about, right? So, but my point on your point was, just set some small goals and make them, right? You don't have to have these huge goals all the time. You can just set, Success Club, and I'm just going to be consistent. Or I'm gonna help somebody be on stage, winning, the Beachbody Challenge next year, or whatever. I mean, there's so many different ways to approach this business, and I think they're all noble. I mean, they're all really cool things you can do. But again, these are your goals. And I was talking to Brigitte about her business last night. We were in this meeting, and I had her commenting because what Brigitte does and Scotty does that and I don't work with these guys because they're not in the West. Sorry. So I don't throw their names out as much because I don't work with them, but I work with Scotty and Brigitte. But what Brigitte, where she's really dialed in, she makes leaders like nobody makes leaders. I mean, her 15 diamonds are studs, and she's literally. I met with her last night. And I said, okay, how many of your PS diamonds are going to go elite? She's like, well, I'm guaranteed 4 and maybe 3 others, and it's like, guys, that's unbelievable. Those numbers are crazy. And so you have to understand. And so we were diving into Brigitte saying, Brigitte, how are you doing that? What is it that makes you different than maybe another leader? And her response was, I tell every one of my coaches they're the CEO of their business and it's up to them to succeed. And she learned it from Scotty. Right? It's this whole idea of it's your business. You're the CEO of whatever's underneath you. Whatever you've built, whatever you want to build, it's your business. Right? So it's kind of the same thing. You have your goals, you can do whatever you want with it. But you know what? I get calls all the time from, elite coaches who are trying to get elite this year, and I'm scared I'm not going to make it, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, my family's starting to suffer, and I'm like, man, put everything down and go to the beach. It's like, stop. Like, take a break. This isn't, don't kill yourself over this. It's not priority one. It's just not, right? So make sure you're in balance on everything else, but understand, you're the CEO of your business. If you don't do the work, nothing's going to happen, right? If you don't lead by example, it's not going to happen, okay? But if you do, it can, right? And it will. So anyway, I throw that out there. What else is people? What else is struggling with?
That for a question, one of the greatest things someone ever told me was, if you look at your day, because on our team, there's 10 things you do every day.
Yep.
Thing that we do. So if you look at your day, like if you have your goal, whether your goal is being a 6-figure earner, leaving your job, or elite, or an emerald making $250 a week, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you tie the activity to the end goal that you want. Like do an activity. We know the activity. I mean, you mentioned, if you want to make $250 extra a week, you can hit a Success Club.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to be a discount coach, then good job, you're doing awesome.
Yeah.
Type of mentality. But I think if you are anything more than just a discount coach and want to make an income with it, make it a business, be the CEO of your business. And Sam, as a business owner, could attest to this, is let's say today's Friday, and it's retreat day, so I didn't work my business. This is working my business, being with the leaders. But on a normal day,
this is the other half of your 50%.
If you go to work, and I tell people, like, you hear me talk about all the time that your success is not your rank or your income, that it's like knowing your purpose, why you're doing this, and then just following through with doing the activity that ties to achieving your purpose and achieving the end goal. So that's your success. So it comes from, if you don't have discipline yet, you've got to read books that teach you discipline and practice and apply it until you can get there. But to be like successful and lead a team, like you want to lead a team like Shiva and like Kendra and like Jennifer, it's just at the end of the day, just a simple question to ask yourself. And I ask myself still today, and it ties back into what you've talked about this whole day. Making sure that you're continuing to do the business building activities like running challenge groups, like 50-50 or whether it's 70-30. Because at the end of the day, just ask yourself, if my coaches did today what I did, would my team grow? So if you just like everybody's posts and you kind of look at all the Facebook challenge groups and you like some, you comment, you message some other coaches and be like, how are you doing up there in California? You know, how's it going? Are you coming to Summit? And, 2 hours is gone. And if because that's how fast it'll go if you're just browsing around like that, liking pictures, commenting. And 2 hours passes. If you think in your a brand new diamond, let's say, or an emerald, if your 2 coaches did exactly that, would anybody get talked to about joining the challenge group? Would anybody, would anybody's goals be discovered or told to somebody where they can start the process of being introduced to a Beachbody Challenge package and starting their journey? So make sure that you're always doing the thing. Like at the end of the day, if my coaches talk to 5 people like I did today, like obviously your business would grow. There'd be, you have 5 coaches and they all did what you did, and 25 people, would be introduced to Beachbody that day. So that's a good question.
Yeah, no, for
Always
sure.
ask yourself that I do.
I think that's a great one. That whole idea of, if my coaches did what I did today, would they be successful at this business? And I mean, honestly, that's exactly the right answer. The right question to ask. Okay, anything else?
I have a question for
Yes,
you.
sir.
So what is the customer retention rate
For Beachbody?
Yeah.
Well, here's the hard part about that. We track coaches way more than we track customers. And Letha, you might be able to speak to this even more than I can. Because it's not one of those, I honestly don't know the answer to the question.
Well, it was hard because they were trying to determine what we should actually be tracking from.
People buy the program.
Right, do you track it from a Shakeology HD, right, that stays consistent using that product for a long period of time, or do you track based off of customer or coach? And so there's been a lot of splitting hairs. I don't think they made any headway on it, from that standpoint. But we do know that from the industry, like how many times people will cycle on the purchase of your product that were more than double what the industry average is, which means that if the industry average is 3 cycles of the product, so whatever the company is, so in our case it would be Shakeology, we're at 6 cycles. So if you want to call that retention, but it really is kind of like we're really unique in the direct sales industry because of the way we've set up, because we work with so many other people and we aren't business first, so we don't necessarily have an entrance like most of them do to be able to say what is the retention. But if you were to look at just specifically, which a lot of companies would look at for their retentions, how many times do they cycle, we would be better than that. Most individuals do that from a coach standpoint, how many times they cycle, versus, because most companies don't have customers, right? They recruited pretty much for a business opportunity in most cases, from that standpoint. And then you also have product companies like Nature's Sunshine type thing, and they would be more moving products, but they don't necessarily have a lot of business for them. They don't necessarily do the recruiting.
And there was a cool one at the DSA meeting. Somebody asked Jeff Hill, how many customers does Beachbody have? And Jeff said, 6 million. Because that's our programs, getting out into the market via infomercials. It's like, it's just kind of crazy. Like our numbers can be all over the place.
It would be hard to track numbers because, like, I was an avid P90X, so that would be considered a customer in a way. It's not a residual one, but I used P90X for over a year, and then I used the next one.
Well, I think I've heard we funnel 1 million leads a year from the infomercial over to the network. And in the industry, that's like nothing. There's not a network. Nobody has that. If you don't know, guys, we started an infomercial company and started a network marketing company, and it works because you guys understand that that's how we started, right? You can't start a network marketing company and then start an infomercial company and have that work because your distributors would go nuts, right? There's not a company on the planet that can do what we did. What's that? Absolutely, they would. But Beachbody, because of the way we've got network exclusive products, and we've got the products out there in the infomercial business. It's just honestly, it's really cool because there is nothing like this. And we go out to the DSA, the Direct Selling Association meetings, and man, we are like, everybody wants to know what Beachbody's doing. How is this happening? What's going on? And quite honestly, they're really hung up on the fact that we're having all the success in the United States. I mean, that is unique to anybody. I mean, nobody has had this kind of success in the United States without going to Asia and to Europe and to South America.
That's what I love about, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's what I loved about the company for the two reasons is your company is paying for your marketing.
Mhm.
So with the infomercials, they do a fabulous job, and that's a fee you don't have to pay. And marketing is very expensive.
See, I'll tell you. So I did a Mormon mission to Japan, so I speak Japanese. And the only reason I tell you that is, guys, that market is so ripe to explode with Beachbody. They do anything cool, anything American that's cool in Japan just blows up. And, every morning, every company, you know what they do? They go out in the parking lot and they do these little silly calisthenics every day. I mean, every company, every morning, they'll be starting in their factory and you'll see them all out in the front yard and they'll all be doing a workout. And it's hilarious. But to me, I'm going, guys, we got to get to Japan because this thing, I mean, literally, I swear, when we start to go into Asia, this company will double in size in a year. I don't even care where we're at because there's so much opportunity. And America and things from America, I mean, that's why a lot of network marketing companies go international because they hear that it's in a U.S. company or a U.S. product, and it really seeds it. But when you have a product like ours that's like a household name, just because we're a household name in the U.S. doesn't mean that we're only in the U.S. I mean, our P90X is everywhere. I think I heard last, the hottest selling product for Beachbody in the UK is, what is it? Debbie Sievers, what is hers? Slim and Six. Yeah. That's like the biggest one in the UK right now. Anyway, interesting, but anyway. So go ahead.
Overseas, because I had, just off of my Instagram, I've had a ton of people email me and ask, how can I be a coach, but they're in Bolivia or Brazil, and they're like, I looked and it's only North America and they can't do it. It's
The basketball girl ships at home and her family ships it to her. Yeah, we can't. See, what you can't do in network marketing, we can't go into a country without the government's permission, because if we do, they'll never let us in. So the company's very cautious at how you deal with that. Like I've consulted other companies that they wanted them in some little companies in Tahiti or in Fiji or things like that. And, they just start shipping down there and then the government will just kill it. Whereas if you would have made 3 phone calls and filled out 1 piece of paper, the government would let you in. But you can't, you can't just go there. And there's other things, like in Canada, and I could be wrong, I don't think I am, but like the Ultimate Reset won't be sold in Canada because there's ingredients in it that the Canadian government doesn't allow. So we've got to go through all these processes. So they can do it, they have to have a U.S. address, we have to ship it there. And like this girl, she was in the Ukraine last year, their husband playing professional basketball over there. This year they're going to Russia. And it's funny that she's on social media all night and builds just like you guys do. She's just in Russia doing it. So, anyway, yes?
There was discussion about, I don't know if this is like public discussion or all around discussion in corporate or not, but there was a really quick mention of an app at Summit for challenge groups and like integrating your challenge group members through the use of a mobile app. Is there any updates on that?
I don't have you an official update other than they're trying to get it out as fast as they can. I mean, it's absolutely being worked on to make sure that it's, what we don't want to do, you have to keep in mind, like when we launched the 21-day fix, right, and then we stock out, I mean, we had no idea that it was going to sell like that. What we don't want to do is launch the app and have, more coaches than we planned on getting on it and then crashing it. So they have to build it in a way that it's huge and it can handle it all, and that, because I mean honestly, we can't even plan, because think about it, it's not even our coach base that'll be on that app. It's all of your challengers, and so then now we're estimating how many challengers we think you guys have, and so there's a lot that has to be really dialed in to make sure that doesn't go down. And I think we're trying to not let it go down. Is it a guy one or a girl?
21.
Slim and Six.
It's a
All right.
medium.
Scotty, how much time do we have?
Oh, we're good.
I will.
Whatever you need.
Dude, I can go all
Whatever
night.
you got.
Go ahead.
I'm interested, well, one question I have, you talked about Shakeology and us needing to like dial in
Understand
on
it, yep.
and understand it. And especially with you mentioning your experience before this with manufacturing other products. One of my coach's most recent Shakeology customers mentioned to me, she's like, you know what, I was talking to one of my friends and she does these shakes, I forget the name of the company, and we compared the ingredients and they're exactly the same. I'm thinking but they're like 25% cheaper, and they're probably manufactured in the same facility. And I kind of felt like, I don't know, I don't know, all I know is it's awesome.
I sold the challenge back today.
But can you speak to, like, I have no idea what the manufacturing process is like, aside from that video they have showing, what's his name, all over in Costa Rica, climbing through the jungle.
Well, first of all, I'd find out who it is, the product that they're comparing this to. Because there's certainly, it's not the same. Because, I mean, there's trademarks, there's all kinds of protection on the formula on it. So I know it's not that. Go ahead.
I believe one of the things that a lot of times I would look at it too. Like I never compare, but like when people do it, I look at it. A lot of times they just look at the percent of carbs, percent of sugars, and they're like, oh, it's the same. They don't look at the ingredient list.
I think that is probably more common.
Like,
this was the first time they were like, no, she said we compared the ingredient list and it was like all the same stuff.
They did a
Like, send me that. Like, give me a copy of this.
We'll send Ken
Well, and honestly,
let's see if we get through our.
Scotty and I, in the workshop thing, that 100 doctors video is really powerful, using some of those things. Honestly, I don't know all the answers to all that stuff either, but I will tell you, what's been interesting to me is, we've signed, one of the good examples is in Las Vegas. We have a 2-star diamond, his wife's a diamond, and they're both pharmacists. And they are just like, this is amazing. I'm like, they are just dialed in on what the ingredients are, what they do, why they work. And so I guess, I've got a unique perspective because I can, we do sign a lot of professional people that are doctors or, pharmacists, things like that get it. But I honestly, I don't know the answer to
Can you speak
question.
to like the manufacturing process at all though?
You might be able to speak to it more than I can. I honestly have not
like
gotten into
what
it.
part? I don't understand what you're asking.
Where it's manufactured, how.
Yeah, is it like is Beachbody have its own dedicated facility, or is it something where, it's manufactured by another company but branded for Beachbody?
Well, we have all the quality controls of it, but we don't own a manufacturing facility to bag, to bag it all together, no.
But they do have, like you said, controls, and they have like crops that they control.
Right, you have people on site checking the ingredients to make sure that there's a quality control process in addition to insurance. So they're making sure that each of those bags are pertaining to what it's labeled for, and that the quality checks are coming through on all of that. So that even goes to any ingredient coming in, they have quality checked, then the formulation when it's all put together before it even goes out the door. So we have full, it's not necessarily makes sense that Beachbody has their own manufacturing facility, it just it doesn't. That's not where they want to spend their time and attention, but they definitely have all their hands in it to make sure that it's coming out the way that it's supposed to.
And it's a fair question. I quite honestly, I'll go back and ask about it.
Yeah,
Because,
just coming from
having run what's that?
I'm just coming from a knowledge-seeking standpoint.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I did run a bottling plant for the space. I should probably know more. I've just spent a year kind of figuring this thing out, but I will dive into it. I'll find out more about that. It's interesting to me, but I will tell you, so Carl has pulled me in on a couple of conversations about future products and things, and how they're going to package it, what they, how they want to present it, what it's going to be, and I can tell you that we have a guy that's over R&D named Mike something that literally, it's his whole world. He maintains our integrity on our products 100% of the time. But it's a whole other world to get into to manufacturing consumable goods. You've got OSHA in there weekly. They're coming in, checking you out constantly. Because anytime you manufacture food grade product, you're being checked, I mean, constantly, like random checks all the time. And so it's not a simple thing to get involved in, especially when you're doing, I mean, what did we say, 270,000 bags a month or whatever it is. So it's, anyway, it is a whole nother business to get into. And I think that because of the way we do it, it's just easier to contract it out than it is to do it ourselves. But it's a great question, and I'll find out more. So when you send me the email about your rapper name, I'll see what I can find out for you. Go ahead.
So in addition to this, I also coach athletes, specifically girls lacrosse right now, and I, young girls all the way up to high school girls. And I read recently in the FAQ about 13 to 17-year-olds being able to do this. But I also have young girls. These are adult-size athletes that just happen to not be 18. Can they get into coaching? Is there ways around that? And can we market in a way to those athletes? Because these are kids that are eating crap on the sidelines. I mean, Gatorade and chewy things and everything else.
Interesting.
Because I have parents asking me all the time.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. There's a network marketing company out called Origami Al, the little locket thing. They sign up girls down to 12, selling these little lockets. Anyway, it's kind of a crazy deal. Mom and dad have to co-sign, and they've got this whole thing. I think that, they co-sign the contract. But I think because we're a nutritional product and we're $100 a month, I don't even think we're looking at it, as far as taking it down into the kid world.
Is there anything that would prevent that from happening, from the nutrition piece of it?
I don't know.
I don't know if I understand your question. Are you asking if they have a coaching opportunity, or just
so I have
that they can make a purchase on
right.
a discount?
So my 16-year-old daughter would love to do this for all of her friends. She is a junior. She is tracking into college. She is an athlete. Weighs 150 pounds, like muscle, right? And she loves Shakeology. She loves the way it is. And she still eats like crap sometimes too. She wants, and she has her friends that are talking about it. So I think about it from this concept that you have kids that go and work at Pizza Hut. They can work. They can get part-time jobs. So is there anything that would prevent a youth from getting into this as a coach? Is there anything that's written into the...
You're talking business you're talking about a business position versus
signing up their friends.
Job.
Yeah, because they get Shakeology through their parents, like she got Shakeology from me.
I mean, you could, by all means, the parents can all do it, but no, you can't. You got to be 18 to be a coach, and I don't.
Work together with their mom.
Yeah, that's right. And I know there's no real discussion.
I don't know I don't know from a federal or a government, it goes to the municipalities, right? Like each state is going to be different on what they're going to accept for a small business. So, I don't know that was even. My feeling is they don't have any intent to drop that. Just kind of like what Doug said, but
Just like
where you're going to get in
doing
trouble is from a legality issue of a 16-year-old being able to have their own business.
But a 16-year-old can have it.
As a coach, right?
That's the thing, they can.
Yeah, but they're not. I just think that we're not going to go there. But anyway, I can ask the question.
We can't get people in the college market to be able to spend $100 on not get a high schooler.
Yeah, and from what there's exceptions, but 18, 19-year-old coaches that I've had are not focused enough. I mean, there's exceptions, but for the most part, they never do. They're just lose focus too easy as well.
So maturity. It's focusing on the athlete's parents, though.
That works.
Like I have people that do 16-year-olds that want to do P90X and Shakeology, and I just ask them if they can have their mom or dad Facebook.
I got to be careful because my 16-year-old son, who's 6'3", wears 13 shoe, playing football, loves E&E at 5 in the morning before he goes to football. It's like all about it. Yeah.
So there's no age requirement for them to have a customer account. So
To have a customer account.
correct.
Okay.
So to
Really?
get the product to them, as long as they have
I'd have to
the
look
means to be
at that
able to pay for it, and it goes through, and they're signing on the card.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that would
that's
take
why
time.
we were clarifying if you were asking for coach or just a customer account.
I mean, I guess anybody could call an infomercial and buy if they had a debit card. I mean,
Right.
there's no age requirement on that, but you can't become a coach.
Just have your kids build with.
Because you know, yeah, I don't know.
I just couldn't find where it actually said that anywhere.
That you have to be 18?
Right, that's why I was asking.
So you haven't found it in there?
You do have, there's.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's right on the
It's in the policies and procedures.
It's gotta be somebody.
It's on the application as well, because we had someone that wanted to do it as well.
I thought of something as I was just, remember back on Maria's question, when he cherishes, something Jennifer said, it was when we were talking about, I just had this like moment where like, this is, like I always try to figure out like, how do I tell people how easy Beachbody is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not easy, you gotta read a lot to go through struggles and overcome struggles. But simplifying it, I think you said as well, Jennifer's talked about sharing videos to talk about everything. We talked about Darren Lewine video, where they share everything. We talked about Beachbody's paying for the marketing, so we don't have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this brand awareness. There's all these people that have no idea that P90X is related to Beachbody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you guys want a simple solution to how what you do as a Beachbody coach, you don't have to convince anybody or sell anybody on a product. Like your job is to find people through social media, touching back on what you said, and connect them to, hey, that amazing P90X that you have or know about is related to the company that I'm working for, that I'm a part of, which is Beachbody. And your job is just to share the videos if they haven't seen them, connect them with connect the dots. Hey, this is Beachbody's company, P90X and Shakeology are products, and that's what I do is I help people through it. And just connecting people with what's already out there, like just connecting the dots. Go find somebody, or eventually through social media attract people to you to come say, hey, what's that thing you're doing? Oh, I'm a representative of the company Beachbody, which produces P90X and Sanity. What makes you ask me about that? What do you want to know about Beachbody? And then you just connect them. Do they want financial end of it? Do they need help with their fitness? Like that's how simple Beachbody is. It's like all the stuff is there. You just connect with people. You connect people with solutions. You connect people with, I connect you guys here with Doug so you can learn a little bit more about the business as well. So it's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be a friend to somebody, connect with them, support them, offer them the solution. Find what they need, offer it. That's all Beachbody is. You don't have to know all the video. Like when we talk about the Shakeology video, I don't know all the, like, I know what Shakeology's done for me, I know some of the stuff, like, but I have a horrible memory. So if someone wants to know more about it in depth, send them the video, and then ask them, what was the thing you liked best about the video? And they're like, oh, I like this. How would that help you if you could use that? And you're like, how would that help you? Oh, okay, that's how it would help you. Awesome. Let me show you how to get it from me. And just not being afraid if they get it from you right then or not. When they're ready to get it from you after they research, because most people figure out or they got to work their bills out, you're the one that introduces to them, so when they're ready, you're consistent posting on Facebook and adding value to them. They come back to you and they say, hey, I'm ready. You know, sign me up now. When your question about social media being brand new, I think brand new, you do have to be patient a little bit in the beginning. Because you want to be like, you've never posted on Facebook and you have 100 friends or whatever, and you're like, okay, I gotta make a challenge group invite. You do it and no one answers, you know, or no one responds. That's gonna be normal because they're like, what is she talking about? So it goes back to the jab. Like, as a coach, Caleb talked about the behind the scenes conversations, and Kendra talked about the invite. She's giving people stuff.
Yeah, I give
Here's what I
away,
eat.
yeah.
My stuff is like, here's something awesome I read about, you know, hey, I learned how you could have a equivalent of a master's degree in a year. Who wants to learn how? You know, these people are like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have that. Tell me. And then they're asking. And I sent them a YouTube video, nothing to do with Beachbody, of somebody talking about, like Tony Robbins talking about how reading 52 books in a year is equivalent to, you know, having a master's degree in the business world. And so it's like, I get all these people interested in that kind of stuff, and they're asking me, then, now I have a list of 20 people that want to have that, and then I just get to be their friend. I ask them all what they're doing. Oh, cool. You know, where are you from? How many kids do you have? That's going on behind the scenes, like Caleb says. I'm just getting to know. And then my constant stuff on Facebook is, I worked out. You know, there's a picture of me and my kids working out. And then there's a picture of you know, be with my kids at the store or something, and then I'll have every 2 weeks, I do 2 weeks invites, like you mentioned. Then I'll share someone's transformation finally in 2 weeks, like inviting people. So all these people that are watching and I'm having private conversations with, they see that invite and they're like, what's that about? You know, so it's just constantly doing that with new people. And that's how powerful social media is. And it's like, all you're doing is you're throwing out fishing lines every day, waiting for people, and then when you bite it, you reel it in, right? And it's so much easier than going out and like chasing down all your friends and throwing spears at them. Like, say it with me, why should you with me? You know, because no one wants to be part of that. You know, that's why I didn't I didn't want to be a part of Beachbody in the beginning. Like Jennifer and I, we didn't want to be a part of Beachbody because there was a couple that did that to us. They're like, we didn't even know who they were. Like, sign up as a coach. And but Lindsay was the first person like, so what do you do for work? Where's your, like, I see you're watching the kids at night. Where's your wife at? Oh, she works at night. So I was like, oh, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it like that. So she attracted me in by what she was doing on her Facebook and just the behind the scenes friend conversation. And then I saw what she was doing. Like I saw the post. And the cool thing to think about that is when she invited me to be a coach, she'd only been a coach for 3 months. So she wasn't a huge success with Beachbody, but she was adding value to people, talking about her P90X workout, and then it was me behind the scenes asking questions behind the scenes with her. So it's really just doing that consistently and not being afraid of like having to know everything. Like it's okay, like if you don't know how to do anything yet, just start having conversations, and when someone's ready, they ask you like, oh, how do I start your challenge? Just ask in our team page, or someone in this group would be like, hey, someone wants to buy from me finally, what do I do? You know, it's important to go learn that, but if you're afraid to know everything before you get started, just start having conversations. When someone's ready, just be like, hey, I'm brand new. Don't even be afraid to say, I'm new at this, let me find out real quick, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. Like, that's totally okay to just do that, because if they're ever going to want to be a coach, and they think they have to be a professional and know everything, they're never going to sign up until they know everything, and they're professional, which will never happen before they become a coach. So show them it's okay to just be you, just to be in the process and enjoying it, and having fun on Facebook. And I mean, that's how simple each. That's all I've done for 3 years. I mean, I've learned things to help people through books, but that's how simple Beachbody is. Use the tools like the videos. Use what are Beachbody coaching webinars that we as a team do every 2 weeks. You know, when someone says, "What is that thing you do for Beachbody?" Like, tell me about that. I see you're talking about P25. What is that? Just say, hey, you don't have to overwhelm them. Just, I'm really excited about it. I've lost 2 pounds, even if you've lost 2 pounds. Or I have so much more energy to play with my kids. Actually, a cool thing, we have a webinar on Thursday. I'd love for you to be my special guest and invite them to be on the webinar with you. And let us teach them about it. And then just follow up. And if they're not ready yet, that's cool. Just keep doing those conversations. If you do it consistently, people will be ready their own time. Just like when Lindsay had that with me, it took me 8 months to just watch her and be ready on my own to be ready. So that's how to be a great Beachbody coach in 3 minutes.
7 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, and
At least you're doing something you enjoy. You remember from the happiness advantage?
Yeah.
If you think something takes less time than it did,
That's
it
right.
means you're doing something you
That's
love.
true. Somebody, like when Jen, they told Lindsay said, all right, you got to speak for 5 minutes at her event. Whereas like 5 or 10 minutes, and she's like, what the heck am I going to do up there for that long? And then, you know, you pull her off stage.
Right.
It's my microphone, it's amazing. It's so true.
With what Scotty said,
Good job.
when he said, this business really is simple, it's just referring people to sources, especially if you're brand new to this. Coaches have like this talkitis problem a lot of times. They come in and they think, I have to learn every single thing. I'm going to go blast through the Coach Training Academy, and then when someone asks me a question, I'm going to give them the best answer ever. And sometimes that's not anywhere near as powerful. Like Eric Worre always says, professional network marketers are professional referrers. Like they've learned all the sources they can direct their people to give them an even better presentation than they could have themselves. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Resources.
Well, and let me say that. So Beachbody is a very simple business, right? And to your point, we overcomplicate it every single day. Honestly, we make this more complicated than it needs to be. When Jeff Hill was recruiting me, I said, you know, Jeff, I need to learn, give me what you got. He gave me his login to the back office. And I'm logging in and I'm like, holy hell, this company has more information back there than any company I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, they're the world's best infomercial company, so of course they're going to have more content than anybody else. Guys, if you got to get to the end of our information, you're never going to accomplish anything, right? Seriously, this is Success Club. You know, get to Emerald. You know, your first goal, get your products paid for. Like for the new guy, first thing you got to do, you pay for Shakeology this month. You should never pay for it again. Period. You have to get that done. The way you're going to get it done is you're going to get to Emerald like this weekend, and you're going to get Success Club 5 before you leave here, right? I mean, like honestly, you've got to figure that out, because if you can get that piece of it figured out, and you literally simplify this business down to those activities, and then just do that over and over again, you can be the next Scotty Hobbs. I mean, honestly. I mean, I hope you guys caught this. So, and we should probably close here in a minute, but Jeff Hill and Michael were talking about Scotty as they came back from the top 10 trip. And to Scotty, if you just heard what he said in his 7 minutes, is guys, he's just genuine, right? I mean, that's what's powerful about Scotty, right? And you have to understand, like there's real power in that, right? To your point, if I'm like dialed in and I'm the used car salesman and I know everything and I'm like slick as whatever, guys, nobody wants to follow you, number one. And they might be like, you're awesome, I want to do everything you do, da, da, da. But then in the back of their mind, they're going, but man, I could never do what he does because I'm not as good as he is, right? That is not what you want, right? When I talked about the Megan Ewaldson video on Facebook, guys, it's like there's like laundry on the couch and it's like, in her living room. To me, that's what's cool about this business is you're all just real people representing real people doing something that's pretty noble. And Scotty goes about it just being genuine with what he's doing, right? You're not making stuff up. You're having full integrity. You're being honest. You're telling stories. But you learn from that. Understand that's what this is all about. Be genuine with who you are. I mean, literally, that's what Michael and Jeff said about Scotty. Because what we have at the company is we have perceptions of who our leaders are, right? Because we don't get to spend a lot of time with them. And until we get to, that's when we figure out who people are. And this was, kind of Scotty's opportunity to spend time with them to really get to know Jeff and Michael and Carl and all these guys. And, they were very impressed with who Scotty is. Because of that, he came across as a very genuine person building a business because he believes in what he's doing. So let me end with this, okay? Guys, again, simple business. If you keep it simple, you can succeed at this. When we talk about the 3 vital behaviors, it isn't just time, right? Brigitte does something that I talk about a lot, which is she has a PS coach group where she has all of her PS coaches, I believe, come into that group, and maybe you'll probably learn it from Scotty, but they post every single day how their proof the product works, how they get invites, and what they did for personal development. So she's tracking them every day. They do a post. It's proof, it's PD, and it's invite. And they post in that group so she can see it. So she knows who's active, who isn't. And that doesn't mean everyone's like, they don't miss a day every now and then. But it's a very powerful thing, okay? This business is based upon pushing play every day on T25 or P90X. And if you push play every day on P90X, you're going to get a result, right? If you push play every single day on your business, inviting 3 vital behavior, you're going to be successful at this business. And if you push play on your personal development, you're going to be successful at this business, right? Those are the things you have to do to succeed at Beachbody. And it's that simple. Like, honestly, I even look at our Coach Basics sometimes. Go back to my beginning. When Jeff let me log in, I logged in and I went to him and I said, Jeff, dude, where do I start? Like if I was a new coach, where would you tell me to begin? And he said, oh, we're working on it. We're building this Coach Basics thing. And I'm like, good, because, dude, this is crazy. And interestingly enough, I think Coach Basics is too complicated. I mean, it ought to be, these are the 4 things you need to know to go to work. Honestly, it ought to be so simple that we give you what you need, and then you go. And then you know what? You get a little bit, we give you a little bit more, which I think is kind of the mindset around Coach Basics. And I think, interesting, the company rolls out Coach Basics in this, 60 days, program. And I mean, every coach has taken it, which was the intent of the company. The company's intent was never to say, this is Coach Basics, follow it, don't change it, that was never, I mean, it says right on it, take this, make it your own. And we're learning, and the company's learning, that most coaches are taking it, and there's 21-day programs. Some people break it into 3 modules of 2 weeks, and some are 2 modules of 4 weeks, and some people do it just like it is. But my point to you guys is, just don't overthink this. You don't have to know everything. It's okay if you screw up while you're presenting. Because you know what? The best thing you can do is have someone in your business wanting to build this business going, I can't believe Scotty's successful at this. Like, holy hell. I'm so much better than he is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, if that's what you see Scotty and you believe that, that's exactly what Scotty wants you to believe. Because that's who you are. I mean, also, let me give you this. If you were at Summit, when you look at those elite coaches, I want you to know, guys, there's nothing special about them other than time, effort, and energy. I mean, that's it. They put it in, they did the work, and they got it done. But you can go try and find a common denominator. You can go try and figure out who they are, what they've done. They're every walk of life. They're all over the board. And there's really nothing that you could say, oh, he's the one. Remember everyone else, if we lined it up, he's that guy. I mean, honestly, that's a tough one. So I would tell you to take this away, right? Number 1, you can all do this. This is not a complicated business, right? Some of you, I have one-on-ones all the time where it's like, you need permission to succeed. You have our permission. Go get it done, right? Like, honestly, go succeed at this. Go do the work, get the result. You can do it, right? This event is phenomenal. Don't leave here Sunday or whenever you guys are done without getting every one of your questions answered. I mean, you've got Scotty, you've got Jen, you've got Shiva. Get with them, figure out what's going on, answer every question you've got, but Monday, do something. Don't waste the weekend and then Monday, go home and be like, man, I need to go study. That is not the point of Monday. Go to work on Monday and get this done. Okay? Guys, Beachbody's a phenomenal company. It's going places. Absolutely. We're just getting started. I 100% believe this is a startup company that is just getting started. I mean, we go international, this is going to flip. And you know what? The bigger your team is, the more likely your Emerald that's somewhere in Boston has a buddy in the UK or in Australia or whatever it is. That could be a huge difference to you. So I'm telling you right now, now's the time to build a Beachbody business. It wasn't better before. It wasn't better 2 years ago. The company's getting better. We're dialing it in, and we're going to continue to succeed. So, guys, simple. Do the work. You'll get paid for it. Okay? Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Okay.
Well, since we're all right here and we're about to go eat, we got catering here. We'll just say a prayer like we did for lunch, bless the food, and I'll do it. Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this opportunity that we had to be here, gather together, and ask questions and learn from each other, and just be surrounded by other positive people in our lives that lift us up and encourage us. And we're grateful that you've brought us all together here for this opportunity. And please bless this food that we have, that it will just be healthy and strong. And please help us to overcome the struggles and the fears that we have in our lives, so that we can grow closer and stronger throughout this weekend together. And we say these things in Jesus Christ. Amen. Awesome. Oh yeah, one other thing, since we're all here, I don't like to